Yes, people, how you doing? Welcome back to the BOMBA show. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, to get out your bone emojis. Get out your puppy dog emojis. Get out your lion emojis and the chef's kiss emoji, and be sending it in a certain direction as Tottenham Hotspur have got the here we go. Bombers, they are dropping. You know, I was just about to go live as well. And I delayed because Bombers always drop when Butler goes live. Unbelievable. We are rat-a-tar-tarring, people. We are rat-a-tar-tarring. How is everybody doing? A massive bit of news. Cheers to you all. Make sure you charge your glasses as Tottenham's midfield rebuild begins. And what a lovely story. We've got both confirmations from Romero and from ORNSTEIN as well. Tottenham agree a club record deal with Mathys Fernandes. Here we go. Agreement in place at £85 million fixed fee as West Ham accept the price they've always asked for. 100% guaranteed. No gazumpsies, no hijacks here. As David Ornstein reports, Man United will now focus on different targets in midfield. Where are you going to go? Ta-ta-ta, people. What is going on? Get those bone emojis for my man. Big up to you, Boxy Kev. Big up to you, mate. That's what you need. The bomber, the puppy emoji, a little slurper ciderino, and a bone. You get them bone and you send them in a certain direction. Tottenham. We've been beaten by Tottenham. Yep. First of many. What is crack-a-lacking? Have I got the actual article up here? Let me see if I can find it. Can I get it? In the meantime, let's have a little look-see and see what is being said by David Ornstein, ladies and gentlemen. He says, I'm all over the place. I just ran upstairs. I'm so hot. And I've been out with a dog. And it's so sweaty and muggy here. Tottenham Hotspur win the race to sign Mathys Fernandes from West Ham United. Spurs submitted the highest proposal, believed to be £85 million. And the 21-year-old West Ham United midfielder opted to join Tottenham. Numbers beyond where Manchester United were willing to go. Listen, you haven't got to sell. Just finish there. He opted to join Tottenham. That's enough. That's all we need. Our new record signing, £85 million. And, guys, we've got other stories tonight as well to bring to your attention. Newcastle United potentially now getting a bidding war going for Manchester City, or with Manchester City and Tottenham for Sandro Tonali. But Tonali has also given his verbal. He's given his agreement to come to Tottenham. So if we can make the money work, makeyourmoneywork.com, then, well, everything's possible, isn't it? We could end up with both of these absolute superstars. Plus, we've got some other news out of Santiaona over in, he's talking about the French game. Following Balogun is a massive target for Tottenham Hotspur this summer. Other stories out today regarding Brian Brobby as well. People are trying to connect the dots there, thinking that Tottenham are really going in that direction. Interesting stuff, people. Interesting stuff. Please don't forget to smash the granny out of the like button for me if you enjoy the content. Hit the subscribe if you love a little bomber. You can enter the chat. Is Goldbridge melting down? Is he melting down? I hope so. I really hope so. I'm going to come to the chat in just a second. Hit the notification button, guys. Drop a comment thick and fast. Let me know your thoughts on everything we are talking about right now. And also don't forget to smash the Spurs Hub a little bit of love as well. Go over there and support the Spurs Hub, your one-stop shop for all of your Tottenham fan content. Let's just get straight to these super chats because they're building up. What unbelievable generosity this evening. Super Blaine, Super Spurs TV has gifted 20 Spurs Talk Show memberships. Wowzers, Blaine. Unbelievable generosity, my man. What a absolutely fantastic guy you are, mate. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Really appreciate you. If you did receive one of those memberships from Blano, then please do say thank you. Blaine, very, very kind, mate. Very kind indeed, buddy. Really appreciate you. Drew Zilla, member for 36 months, has said 3 years deserves a bomber. Big up, Sean. I love you, buddy. Here's to many more. Big up to you, Drew. Thank you so much. 3 years, mate. How quickly is that time flown past, huh? 3 years deserves a bomber. It does indeed. That's what we get, mate. That's what we get on big days to celebrate. We get bombers galore. And we're very, very, very impressed with Tottenham Hotspur's start to this transfer window. Are we not? That's number 5. That's number 5, and it's not even the start of July yet. We've got 2 more months of the window. We've got 5 players in. We've only got a couple of players that are out so far. But things are cooking. We are cooking with gas. Big up to Box Kev for that one, mate. Really appreciate you, mate, with the emojis. We love to see it, Kev. We love to see it. Make sure they are not wasted just here, guys. You know where to go, and you know who to smash the old emojis in the directional. Big up to you, buddy. Thank you very much for your generosity. Josh Caress has said, Sean, have you sent Goldbridge the link to join the stream? Tottenham! No, I haven't. Maybe I should. I haven't got his number. Big up to Josh Quest. Thank you very much indeed. James119 is saying he's putting a super sticker. Big up to you, buddy. Choo choo to you. That's the first super sticker. I'll go give the old rat-a-ta-ta. Where is it? There we go. Choo choo to you, mate. What an unbelievable bit of love that is. Let me see if I can put this link out there. See if Drew wants to come on. I have to put it into the old. Put it into the chat as well. Let people who wants to come onto it. There we go. Anyone wants to come on? Get yourself on. Give me 2 seconds, people. Pin that bad boy. There we go. Really, really interesting stuff. This is really interesting stuff. Tottenham mean business. Record signing. And we might have another one. Maybe they wanted to break the record twice in the same summer to show their intent, and so wanted to get Fernandes done first for 85 million, and then knowing that they're probably going to end up paying 90 or 95 for Tonali. So 2 record transfer targets in the same week. In the same week, we couldn't, could we? 200 million quid. That's what it's going to cost to get these 2 people in, and we're still not done. Big up to S Zeps, who says rat-a-ta-ta. Cheers, big ears. Big up to you, S Zeps. Appreciate you, mate. Appreciate you, buddy. Really, really exciting stuff. Stay there, mate. Lazy 80. Well, me up to Nicky boy. Remember for 48 months with the bone and the bomb, the bone and the bomber, the bomber bones. It's a long time as well, mate. 4 years. 4 years, Nick. Appreciate you so much, mate. Really cool of you. So who's in the background there? Adam's in the background. Big up to you, Adam. How you doing, mate?
What's the story, buddy? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good, mate. Excited. Yeah, I can hear you, mate. Can hear you. I'm excited, bro. What a signing! I'm more excited about Fernandes than I am about 100%.
Yeah, I mean, he's a young talent. He did, he was an incredible player in a really, in a struggling West Ham team, and the kind of player that he is, he's obviously going to play very well under De Zerbi. The kind of the tactics De Zerbi has, and he's just an all-round talent, man. Like you could see him playing in a deep box-to-box or in a 10. Like he can do everything. So like that, he was the one I was the least positive that we'd get because of it. He's expressed love for Man United, but he's obviously been sold on the project. So absolutely fantastic for us.
Are we having any of the sort of? Are we having any of the kind of? Oh, he wouldn't have gone to us had Manchester United paid the money. Or are we kind of cognizant of that? Are we okay with that sort of reality? Because there is a pecking order, and United are the biggest club in English football, aren't they, historically? So.
I think it's more down to the fact that he's a fan. He's a Man United fan. And Mbeumo was the same. He wouldn't have gone anywhere else. As far as I'm aware, he took a little bit of a pay cut to go to United because that's where he wanted to be. And I think if Fernandes, his heart was in Man United, I think it's just a case of like he was happy either way because he was impressed with the project at Spurs, and of course he's going to be impressed with the pay packet because we've obviously it has to be true that we've broken the wage structure. So I'd say he was happy either way, but if it had gone like literally level, like Spurs and Man United have matched the bid and they've matched on the wages, he would have picked Man United. Like, let's be fair. But we don't have to worry about that eventuality because we've got him.
Exactly. We got him. We got our lad. Speaking of lads, let me just get these super chats done as well. There's loads of them here. Love the everyone's super excited. Everyone pivoted, didn't they? They thought it was happening. Then suddenly it's not going to happen. It's same old Tottenham. Where are you, all you doubters? All you doubters. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it. No. Just get on board it. That's the fun bit of being a football fan. It's out of your control. You might as well dial into the expectation, the excitement, even if it does break your heart. Because when it doesn't break your heart, you haven't missed out on the opportunity to get excited about something. You know? Speaking about miserable gits, here's one of the background mate joking every time he It's Eugene. How are you, Eugene? Good to see
Hey boys.
How are you, mate?
Good. Hey, congrats, AC.
Yes, sorry, Adam. Congratulations on the news, mate. It's brilliant. Sorry, I completely forgot to mention it, mate. Congratulations, bud.
Cheers, lads. No, I appreciate it. For everyone at home who has no idea what they're talking about, I announced in the group today that I've got another child on the way. So, yeah, nice one, lads. Much appreciated.
No, I'm kidding.
You didn't mean that?
No, I'm joking. Yeah, congrats, mate.
Congrats. Let me do these super chats. West Spam from Blaze says, West Spam are just our feeder club now. They gave us Kudus. They get relegated now. We get relegated and now give us Fernandes. We are the big dogs at the bowl. Woof, 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 woof.
That was never in doubt. That was never in doubt, apart from with West Ham fans. West Ham fans think that they're a bigger club for some absolutely ludicrous reason, but there was never in doubt that they are definitely our feeder club.
100%. You know, I don't remember. Has any players gone from Tottenham to West Ham? Did Scott Parker go in that direction?
Good question. Probably.
Might have been Scott Parker. Did Scott Parker go to West Ham? I think he did, didn't he? Anyway, whatever. We'll take Jared Bowen next, and then we're fine. No, then we're happy days, Big up to you, Blaine. Appreciate you, mate. A user says Goldbridge puppy takes the bone from the lion. Exactly. Big up to you, A user. Thank you very much indeed. Philip, Big Phil Peasenhouse. Woo! Big up to you, Phil. What a day, mate. What a day. Tottenham land a bomber. It's the biggest bomber we've ever dropped. 85 million pounds of TNT in that bomber. Absolutely love it. Sunny is life saying, let's get Tonali as well. Yeah, let's just drink in this one for 30 seconds and then straight away. Right, well, what's next? What have you done for me lately, Tottenham? Where's Tonali? I'm not waiting any longer. You know? Yeah, let me smash these. I'll bring the boys in. Big up to you, Sunny is life. Swigsy says, one down, Sean, one to go. United fans in tears. Yeah, we've got to talk about. I don't know whether or not the Ugarte injury had anything to play in there because they probably were banking on raising 50 million from that, or maybe they just didn't have the cashish because they've got a £2.5 billion stadium to finance at the worst possible time, given the price of oil and the price of everything else is through the roof. So, big up to Swigsy. Sonny's life is back in saying, "Cry more, Goldbridge, 100%." I can't wait to go and troll him. I'm going to troll him for days. I can't wait. Big up to you. Chew Dini's in the house. Super stick. Big up to you. Chew to you, Dino. How are you, my man? Good to see you. Always here, always supporting. And also Youngie81, also always here, always supporting. Big up to you, mate. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Listen, is Sizzy coming out? Oh, do we have to give Sizzy tier 1 status now? Because there was a lot of arguments saying, well, this one defines him. He's put his entire reputation on the line. I was old Sizzy. No one knows who he is, but he's really going for it. And then suddenly it looked like it wasn't going to happen. And people were piling in and he was like, I'm calm, bro. I'm calm. I know what I know. Listen, he might still be full of shit and just guesses well and, just double down, called everyone's bluff and it worked out. But I think we have to give
his post on X, he didn't even announce anything. Like, it was just this smile where it's like a mic drop moment. Like, fair play to him. That was pretty cool.
Sensational stuff. Absolutely sensational. We have to give him his flowers, I think, 100%. What are you saying, Eugene? You gonna crack a smile, mate? I feel like this is a good news day for Eugene, isn't it?
Oh, it's a great news. By the way, so I now also have probably my new favorite Spurs player, Van Hecke. Last night, that guy is such a baller. Just bleeding, just everything. I'm like, man, this guy. But yeah, no, I'm excited. Just one thing is, we usually get one big signing a window. The key test will be if we get one more. If we get Tonali, if we get at least one more big signing, that I will say ENIC is changing. So let's hope we get a Tonali and a winger or an attacker, then I'll be very happy.
I think we have to get three. We have to get a midfielder, a winger, and a striker. Has to be.
Yep. But watching Van Heck and Van der Ven last night, even though they lost, I'm like, man, like that partnership is going to be amazing for us. And now with Fernandes, with an 8, I'm excited.
Now that they're out of the World Cup as well, they're coming straight back to start training, right? They'll get a couple of weeks holiday and then back to training early.
Yeah, I mean, the passing is going to be on point.
Sorry, Eugene.
No, I was saying, like, the passing, Fernandes, Van Hecky, both of them can pass the ball. I think we're not going to be seeing this, like, side to side backwards passing anymore, and that's what I'm excited about. I actually want to see some
into the danger zone.
Yeah, some real passing. So I'm pumped.
What were you saying, Sean?
Yeah, well, someone just asked me to play a certain jingle because when there's bombers and when there's transfer news, you know what's got to happen. Love it, absolutely love it. Ratatata. I'm so happy, but I'm also so devastated that I was going to go live at 5, and then I was like, you know what? Nah. I only want to go live when I think there's about to be a bomber, and then I decided to record a video instead, and I've recorded the video, and as I was about to press the upload button, then suddenly this dropped, and so that whole video is now pointless. And also, I wasn't live when the bomber dropped. Had I gone live at 5, we would have continued on the bombers only happen when Butler goes live theme. And it's annoying. I'm a little bit devastated. But either way, I want to ask, before we move on to Tonali, before we talk about Balogun and Brian Brobby and all that stuff, guys, I want to ask you, because I saw Phil P in the chat there saying, it was always Daniel Levy's fault. Now we know how Phil P's part of the Levy out army. I know it's probably partly, I think he's sincere with it, but I think there's also some sort of banter in there as well. Genuine, sincere question: does Tottenham pay 85 million quid for Fernandes if Daniel Levy's still at the helm, even if the owners had come in? Like, if Daniel Levy's still here, and then we almost get relegated, and then the owners go, okay, we're going to put 200 million quid in, and everything's going to change, and we're going to have the new wage structure and all of those things. But if Daniel Levy's still here at the helm, does he pay 85 million quid for Fernandes? And will he pay to 100 million quid for Tonali?
We know the answer, let's be honest. Like, absolutely. Like, you and I have both sang off the same hymn sheet, Sean, where Levy's concerned. And we're not like super, super pro Levy, but also we're not like we find when people make a villain out of somebody for no reason, that's just as bad as well. Levy has to be given his dues for the stadium and this, that, and the other. Like, there's loads of business side of things that he's done really well. The football side, he butchered, and there's not a chance he would ever have put his hand in his pocket and thrown 85 million down on Fernandes. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. I don't believe it for a second.
I mean, I think.
You're not of the opinion. Just sorry, Eugene. Quickly, are you not of the opinion that Adam, that at least to some extent, like, we can all agree his negotiation style sucked, right? We all agree on that zero-sum approach was just and drag things out to save £1 million, and then you end up losing it for a biscuit. Like, I hear you and I agree with all those things, but part of the reason why he had to, maybe it was just his inbuilt persistence around that's just the way I am. I value things differently to others. I'm not going to waste money unnecessarily. All that shit is probably part of the story. Big up to you, Rain. But I also think that he was handcuffed by the actual sugar daddy at the top, who wouldn't put his hand in his pocket. Right? That's also a part of the story. And so Daniel Levy being like, we're comparing apples to oranges if we're comparing Tottenham under Levy to this version of Tottenham with Vinay, because they're not like, they're different kind of profiles of ambition from the actual money men. Is that not a reasonable thing as well?
Yeah, but do you not agree? I can't remember. I know you had a take on this when Simon Jordan came out saying that he got a message from Levy saying that Spurs had their pants pulled down when it came to Van Hecke. If there's any truth to that, so you tell me what your take is on that, but if there's any truth to that, then there's no way he's absolutely going to say the exact same thing when it comes to Fernandes. So and we know what he would have been like at the negotiation table. He would have been an absolute SOB.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we got nowhere with him because he just refused to pay a single penny more than what he evaluated the player at. And I don't think he would have paid 85 million for Fernandes. I don't think that he's the kind of guy that could survive in the market the way that it is now. It's changed so much. Players that were worth 40 million are worth 80 million now. And I don't think he would have survived in that market, mate. Like he did.
I would have liked to have seen, like Daniel. I would have liked to have seen this kind of more ambitious, more I don't know, more financially appropriate version of ENIC a year ago, just to see what Levy would have done, and it kind of would have settled.
We'll never know.
Like we're never going to know, and so people are going to compare the two versions. And I don't think it's necessarily. I think it's reasonable to have the stance that people have. Like Levy was a problem. I completely concur with his negotiation style, but the fact that we can spend 200 million quid on two midfielders and also have change to go and do other things this summer is because of our PSR and FFP and squad cost ratio wiggle room, which in no small part is because of Daniel Levy's prudence. So like, it's even though you're comparing apples and oranges, they all start from the same tree, and that tree was nurtured well by Daniel Levy in the first place. So I feel like, and as far as the pants pulling down thing, Adam, like, listen, if it's true that he genuinely said it like that, I can't imagine he said it. I think that's just the way paraphrased by Jordan. But it leads you to think he wouldn't have paid the money that we did for 52 million for Van Hecker. But I also don't think it's outrageous to sit there and have an opinion about a 1 year left on your contract player paying 52 million pound with 10% sell-on fees. I think it's okay for people to have an opinion on what line in the sand is overpayment. I think we would all have that line in the sand at some point. And I certainly don't agree that even if it's true, does that somehow prove anybody's point about other things to do with Daniel Levy? Just because he had an opinion on someone's valuation doesn't mean. See,
okay. But even that aside, right? Even that aside, we can't ignore the fact that what we've got right now is lightning in a bottle, because we at the exact moment that we've lost Levy and we've brought in Vinay, we also have De Zerbi coming in, and that he's going to want to operate like a manager, not like a coach. And for him to take the reins the way that he has, I don't think Levy would let him do that either. You know what I mean? Levy was a guy who wanted his fingers in absolutely everything and controlling so much. So I think Vinay is the kind of person who will sit back and go, right, yeah, you do the football thing. You do the football thing. I'm the business guy. You do the football thing. So I think that the fact that De Zerbi's selling the project, De Zerbi has the connections with certain players. De Zerbi has the gravitas to convince people that he's going to do great things with Tottenham. And he can only do that if he's also got the war chest. And for the first time ever, we've given an elite manager a war chest. I don't think that happens under Levy. I just don't think that. I think that those two would end up like that. Whereas I think Vinay, we've said a lot of bad things about him over the summer, given everything that happened last season and the ways that he's come out in the media and stuff like that. But the one thing that you will say is, if he's able to turn it around and show that business-wise, now that he's had his feet under the table for long enough, he can do shrewd things with the club. The one thing you say about him as well is he does seem like he's a little bit more of a pushover than Daniel is, when it comes to letting the manager do their thing. I would say that he's less like him.
I feel like he's just got the ability to go, if someone goes, no, I want 85 million quid, I feel like we're just giving whatever the clubs are, whatever they want. And I don't mind it, like in the initial instance, but if that's a theme, I know I'll bring Eugene in and then Rain. If it's a theme, right, where we're going to end up giving Newcastle exactly what they want, we end up giving Brighton exactly what they want, we end up giving West Ham exactly what they want, like, I guess no Tottenham fan's really going to mind until suddenly we run out of money in the future. And until we can't.
At least De Zerbi's at the helm, though. At least De Zerbi's at the helm. Because I think De Zerbi will make the right decision when it comes to spending that money. It won't end up getting spent on shite.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Eugenie?
I mean, under Levy, Levy did spend big money on Richarlison, Solanke, even Archie Gray. The issue is not even transfer fees. The issue is the wages. I don't think Levy would break the wage structure and give Fernandes over a 200K. That's the issue. So with him, it was always, as I said before, we always got like one big transfer window. We spent big money on an average player on low wages. And that was how Levy operated. So right now, if we are in fact breaking the wage structure, that's going to attract bigger players. That's the biggest change in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, listen, I'm not, by the way, I'm going to see people in the chat going, how are we talking about Daniel Levy? It was just because the conversation sort of steered towards overpayment, and someone in the chat said, I think it was Phil P, said this, like, Daniel Levy is the problem. I just think it's a worthwhile consideration around whether that's true or not. Rain, first thoughts, mate. Big up to you, and big up to Hugo for joining as well. How excited are you, mate? Fernandes, where did he stack rank for you in the list of desirable centre midfields? Was he above Tonali or below Tonali, or was it someone else?
Massively above Tonali.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this guy. I think he's fantastic. He gets absolutely stonking ratings. His stats are fantastic. The eye test is great. He's a really, really cracking player. A lot of people. I was on and someone goes, yeah, he's only 21, and I thought we didn't want youngsters anymore. There's a difference. He's had like 3 top flight seasons. He's not green. It's a lot of people talk about young. It's not young. It's inexperienced.
It's when you're good enough. When you're good enough, you're good enough.
Well, it's when you've proven that you're good enough. It's when you've shown that you've done it. You've been over some adversity. I love it. Coming to the Levy thing, I make you right, Sean. I think if you go and timeline it, Daddy Joe rolled off 22, 23. So they've come on 23, 24. A lot of people talking about, it's same old Enoch. But we know this is what happens when you have new money and then the second generation get hold of the new money in the business. The first generation is usually
look after it. I'm not used to this.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And he's usually a tyrant, aren't they? They're usually a tyrant. What's the succession? Right? The succession, right? You're not serious people. But and then you get the second generation, and they're like, oh, let's sell some of this artwork. Let's buy some players.
Yeah.
But they haven't been completely reckless. So if you timeline it, you're looking at. Oh, that is actually somebody I wanted to talk to. You're looking at 22, 23 rolls off, 23, 24 they come on, and then 24, 25 we get Vinay, and now 25 into 26 they have absolutely been trying to buy a different profile of player. We've broken our transfer record for a defender. It now looks like we're going to break our transfer record full stop twice. It can only be good things. I absolutely think, and last summer it was clearly a coup, Sean. It was clear, I will believe till my dying day unless somebody provides proof that when Vinay was sitting next to Levy, he knew he was going to stab him in the face.
100%. That's why I don't trust him, because I just feel like I've come across so many people like that in the corporate game when I was, in America, in Australia, and that there's so many people that do that sort of thing. They smile to your face, but stab you in the back, right? It's like, it's 10 a penny. Happens all the time. And he is as corporate as they come. And at the end of the day, like, people are going to sit there and say, Vinay is the difference maker. Like, I'm sorry, like, it's you're spending other people's money. And if all you're doing is saying, how much do you want for this player? And they're going, we want this. Okay, you can have it. Like, cool. Tottenham fans don't care until it bites you in the arse later, right? And we've got out of the frying pan into the fire. There's one problem in not paying anyone enough ever, and then drawing these things out and then getting hijacked last minute or whatever else. But there's another problem with just giving people what they want, because that gets out very quickly, and then you end up overpaying. And I don't know. Fernandes, for me, I think he's too kind of young to know exactly what we're dealing with there. But for me, I think he is a phenomenal talent. I definitely think we're overpaying for Sandro Tonali, but it is what it is. We'll come to that story in a minute.
I think
just one second, Hugo. Just one last little thing. You've mentioned something that's really important, Sean, that most people just aren't in that world. And this is a corporate world that they're in. And for the last 7-8 months, I've been saying to people, I can see they're doing stuff different. The problem is we are expecting football pace, which is changes week by week, month by month, right? But they're moving at corporate pace. Look how long it took to get Rafi Mawson in. Because Man City went, you want this guy? Fine. We're putting him on gardening leave for 6 months. Yeah. So you can just wait. You can just sit. So in January we didn't have Rafi Mawson, even though he'd left Man City already because he was sitting in the garden. We haven't had Dan Lewington. So things have been moving very, very slowly in the back. And I'm so hopeful that this is an indication that this summer is the wake up, is the lightning in the bottle. I love that. I love that, and I love that phrase.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Sizzy's tweet. By the way, has he said anything here? Oh yeah, 56 minutes. Can you see it on the screen? He's just done this one. I love that. It's just silent gloating. Like, yeah. I told you, bros. Calm down. Everyone needs to calm down. Nobody panic. It's Hugo. How are you, mate? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
Thank you, mate. Thrilled is the answer. If I'm entirely honest, mate, I know you have a thing about, why are we paying the money that these clubs are asking? You forget, to get top players in, we've finished 17th twice. We have been through 4 managers in 12 months. There has to be a point, and if you, really want to say, okay, well, Daniel Levy's gone, we're going to do things differently. Well, to be fair, they're doing things differently, right?
Yeah.
And at the moment, I don't think we're in a situation where we're, we haven't been in a position to negotiate from a place of, of power, to have that leverage over smaller clubs per se, to say, well, the player really wants to come to us, but, we're not going to pay your money, because ultimately there are too many teams that are, have to be deemed smaller than us, but are achieving more than us, right? But I think what's really important is if we were to get Tonali in addition to Fernandes now, I think that's the watershed signing that then makes getting a top quality winger and getting a top quality striker a heck of an easier proposition, right? If you're a player out in the market at the moment and you're like, well, hang on a second, have you seen what they're doing over at Spurs? They've got a quality coach now who's on a long contract there. They're backing him by giving him the players that he wants, and not just any old players, but quality players. At a certain point, you turn around and you go, do you know what? I like the look of what they're doing over at Spurs. They're going to pay me, seemingly, a shit ton of money if I'm any good. I'll be playing with other quality players. They're doing things properly. They're really overhauling the squad, not just adding a little bit of, sprinkle here and there. They mean business. And at a certain point, there's a player that's a watershed signing that makes the signing of other quality players a lot bloody easier for Tottenham Hotspur. That is my genuine belief, having seen how things are progressing so far. And I would question what or how much, to the extent that Vinay is involved in the negotiations. I can't remember where I saw it the other day, but it looked like, it
might not be him. It might be
Rafi.
Rafi.
It looked like it might be Rafi who is
the
main man. And hopefully that only goes to crystallize the fact that, come tomorrow, which is July 1st, is it not? Do we think that there will be, an announcement that our favorite Danish pastry is going to either be sidelined to go and, make cups of tea somewhere else, or indeed with his rolling contract, which I believe does it renew on July 1st?
I don't know. I don't know. I think he's going to be here, mate. He's going to be here. The club haven't made any intimation that he's leaving, so I think.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he might be staying, but just not in the same capacity. Possibly.
So I don't think Johan Lang's had too much to do with any of these deals. I think, but Johan Lang clearly, for me at least, looks like someone that's out there trying to find the younger talent. I think that's where his forte is. That's where he should stick to as well. Because at the end of the day, right, he identified Lucas Berghvall, and it looks like we're going to 5x our money on him if we do sell him.
Sure.
There's a £50 million bid that's been turned down already from Nottingham Forest, although it's not confirmed who the guy is, the buyer is. Same with Vuskovic, right? So even if these players don't end up playing for Tottenham, but we 5-6x our money on him on these players a couple of years, then Johan Lang has paid for himself.
Well, hang on, wasn't Vuskovic Paratici's work?
I don't know. I thought it was. No, was it?
I thought Vuskovic was Paratici.
Maybe. Okay. Who told you that? I can't remember the timeline. Whatever, it doesn't matter. My point is, he's paid for himself he's paid himself 10 times over anyway, even if he just makes the 60 million, 50 million quid on Berghvall, right? But if he wants to step aside and do that sort of thing, I think that Fernandes and De Zerbi, to me, are just people that Fernandes and Tonali are just players that De Zerbi has said, I want these guys. Can you go and get them for me? Tottenham has said, sure, we'll give it a go. Look, this is our budget this season. And then, the rest is history. Whether it's Rafi Mawson or whether it's Vinay or whoever it is that's doing the negotiating, I would imagine it's, I don't know, I'd hope that it's some Rafi. But at the same time, I don't think it's particularly hard to negotiate if you're working with other people's money. Trust me, as someone who used to be a trader, an investment banker, like, it's far easier to put risk on when it's the bank's money than it is when you're at home playing around with IG Index with your own money, okay? Because you haven't got the emotional attachment. So, like, negotiation is a lot easier when it's other people's money. And I don't think it deserves a massive round of applause if you just say, what do you want? And they say this, and you go, okay, you can have it. That's not really... That's sort of bending over backwards, isn't it? I'm not criticizing.
There's still the T's right now. There's still the T's and C's with the player and with the agents and all of that bit, right? I agree, obviously. It's a lot lighter lift when you're agreeing to the face value price that's being asked. Of course it is.
Sean, I remember my first big IT project, after doing a whole load of finance projects. And I was being so careful with the budget. And the IT director went, so just spend the budget. just spend the budget.
Yeah. If you don't spend the budget, you don't get it again.
Exactly. He said, no one's going to thank you for saving them any cash right here, right now. Trust me. Just spend it.
But look, I disagree with Hugo on one point. I think for young players, especially if you're like, under 27, 28, I don't think a project makes that much difference if you pay the wages. If you look at us and United are in Europe, they're a bigger club. Fernandes still chose us because we were willing to pay the money. So I think Spurs are still a big club, right? So, like, one great thing is that we beat out a big club for a big player. But for younger players, if you pay the wages, they're going to come. I don't think a project is number one on their mind. I think it's all about the wages, in my opinion.
So is that you saying that you're not so sure that Tonali's interested in the same thing because he's a bit older?
Well, I mean, what I think with Tonali, him and De Zerbi have a relationship. But like I'm saying, like if a player is 28, 29, they want to win some trophies, right? So if it's a choice between City and us, they probably are going to go to City so they can win. But a young player is going for the money a lot of the time, right? He's going exposure, London, wages. So if our wages match United's wages or are higher than United's wages, a young player might come to Spurs. I don't think Fernandes is looking at our project versus the United's project. Because honestly, if that was the deciding factor, he'll probably go to United, just given where they are and the size of the club. So I think if ENIC is breaking the wage structure and they're willing to pay top wages, I think that's a good sign for us to be able to attract those big players who are younger.
Let's
Does that make sense?
It does, mate, 100%. Let's move on to Tonali next, right? Because there's a few other stories I want to get through today. We got Tonali, obviously, the story came out from the Newcastle Chronicle earlier saying that Manchester City have entered the race now and that have been asked to keep abreast of the situation, and Newcastle expect a bidding war. At the same time, though, Newcastle United have just had a £5 million fee that they've had to pay to UEFA for breaching spending rule, for breaching financial rules. But they do. I've got the sort of headline here. It says club fall foul agree for spending regulations, but are adamant that selling key players this summer is not a necessity. That's from Luke Edwards of the Telegraph. It's also out there on the New York Times, The Athletic as well. I want to kind of bring a few different things in here because Manchester City, again, so Manchester City, we don't know what's happening with the 115 charges, right? But there's lots and lots of speculation coming on from all of the ITKs at certain clubs that suggest that it's imminent. Like it's coming this summer. And if they're found guilty, which a lot of people think there'll be some sort of level of guilt applied, whether it's to half or all of the charges, whatever. And there's mixed reports on what the fines will be or what the punishment will be. Some people are saying it could be a 60 points deduction, which would essentially relegate them unless they were to get like 95 points, which no team has done in the Premier League for a while. So they'd be out of Europe for 3 seasons or 2 seasons, essentially. Back in the Championship, they'd be out of Europe, and then they'd obviously the season after they'd be back in the Premier League in all likelihood, but they wouldn't be in Europe. So there's that consequence. There's also potentially a 2-year transfer ban that's been mooted as a potential punishment as well. And so Manchester City might want to try and get ahead of that if they think that they're guilty or if they know that something bad's coming. And on that basis, they might want to go and buy a few players now, knowing that they won't be able to for the next couple of years. But if that's the case, are they really going to...
players go there?
Well, why would players go there? Do they have a fiduciary responsibility to be able to sort of sit there and say, and be honest and say, look, there's a good chance that this might happen? Does Tonali even want to go to City anyway? We can all acknowledge that they've got a higher likelihood of winning trophies than Tottenham do, sure. But here now, he's going to have Elliot Anderson and Rodri in front of him in the pecking order for that sort of single 6 pivot, which they do, because they don't play with a double pivot; they play with a single 6, right? So where does Tonali see his minutes coming? And he's going to be behind Elliot Anderson, and surely a fully fit Rodri is not going to be leaving this summer. So does he really want to go there? I think that, and of course, Tonali's already given his sort of word to De Zerbi, according to all reports, that he wants to come. So to me, I don't, when you add all these things up, I don't really see Newcastle United as having, they'd love to make Tottenham think that there's a bidding war, but I personally don't think that Tottenham have to worry too much about, I mean, the argument that he might want to go there because it's got a higher likelihood of winning trophies is fine. And maybe he'll earn as much money at City as he could at Tottenham. But to me, I think that both of them come to Tottenham Hotspur. I think Fernandes and Tonali end up at Tottenham before the end of the week. Thoughts,
Another
guys?
bomba this evening. Another bomba this evening would be absolutely incredible.
Wouldn't that be
That
amazing?
would be huge. But the question is, if we spend 150 million on 2 CMs, how much more money do we have for attackers? Because we're desperate for a winger and a striker. Even though the options aren't great, but we're desperate. Like, our backline is sorted. Tonali and Fernandes, our midfield will be sorted. We just need 2 attackers. So the question is,
if we had 200 going on Tonali and Fernandes together, is there 100 left after that to go out and get a 60 million winger? And then, the striker market is pretty mediocre. I don't think that the strikers are expensive. How much are you going to pay for a Brobby, or who's the other guy? Balogun?
Balogun.
Yeah. He's not good. I don't want him. But Romero has to go. I think that's the key.
No one Balogun. Yep. We'll come to the striker market. We'll come to that in a little while. But if just to answer that question, what's the money, right? Well, if we could spend 400 million quid this summer and bring back 200 million quid in through sales, and if that 200 million quid comes from Vicario for 20. Pape Sarr for 15, Romero for 35, 40, whatever that is, right? That's about 70 million. Richalison. Who? Oh, Dragusin, another 20. Maybe Richalison, another 20. Like, you can... And then obviously, if Berghvall does go as well, even though tonight there's been apparently rumours saying that Tottenham has said that Berghvall's not for sale, but clearly the market are interested in him because Nottingham Forest have already put in a bid for 50 million quid for the guy and it's been rejected. But there's 180, 200 million quid there in recovered transfers. So then you can make the argument that you could spend 400 million quid gross, 200 million quid net. And if that's the case, then you've got 150 million quid left after Tonali, Fernandes, and Van Hecke. You've got 150 million quid left to go after a winger and a striker.
Yep, if we sell, because our issue has always been we're not able to sell players. And Romero's situation concerns me because there is no room for him. We have to sell him, but nobody's coming in for him. So I don't think we're going to get 50 million, but if we get 40, I'll be happy to sell him. Berghvall, to be honest, I didn't want to sell him, but with Fernandes, who's young, Tonali, I'd be happy to sell him as well. So if that's the case, if we can actually sell for a change, then we should be in good shape. Let's wait and see.
Just
but
coming back to
$50 million quid on Berghvall is crazy. If that's true, 50 million quid, and we've said no.
I think he's a talent, though. Like, I genuinely think that in the future he's going to be class. We'll be sorry to see him go.
Yeah, but Bentancur should go first. In my opinion, I'd rather keep Berghvall over Bentancur. In my opinion.
That's the first one I've ever agreed with you, Eugene.
But he just got a new deal, which was a mistake in my book, but we'll see.
Coming back to Newcastle and Tonali, it is quite clear. It's got all the signs that they're trying to manufacture a bidding war, and they're trying to get us to bid, even just against ourselves, to get Tonali out. And if you have a look, Newcastle do not want to think that they're below us in the pecking order, in the food chain. They do not want to believe.
I don't think that they need to manufacture a bidding war, though. I think we've already, they've made it very clear what the market is like at the moment. Tonali is going to cost stupid money, and I don't believe that bringing Man City into the picture just to try and raise the price is actually going to move the needle very much. Like, the guy is clearly, if Fernandes is 85, and what is it? Anderson was 116. Tonali's 100. Just smack down the 100. They're not.
That is probably the fair thing to. Yeah, it's the market benchmarks, isn't it? It's like the house
agent, I think,
sells for 20% above market value, then your house.
But Newcastle need money, right? Newcastle need cash, and you can see clubs can smell there's blood in the water with Newcastle.
But you're not going to get.
You've got Arsenal.
Did Newcastle? Sorry, Rangers quickly. Did Newcastle spend all of their money that they got for Isak?
Well, they spent like 60-70 on Watford, didn't they?
They just sold Gordon as well, right?
Yeah.
60. So it is weird. It is weird. But
I think
there's clearly blood in the water, because Arsenal are clearly unsettling Guimaraes. Maybe that's what Newcastle is doing. They're like, if we can't, maybe they've gone, whoa. We need to see if we need to keep one of them. And if Arsenal have come in and they've just gone, it's 50 million for Guimaraes, which is in my mind we've just won the Premier League and we're going to unsettle your player, who's then going to turn around and tell you that he wants to leave money, right? And then you're going to tell us what.
But how much is Bruno Guimaraes worth?
He's worth more to them than Tonali is, in my mind.
100%. Bruno G is not one of the best players in the Premier League. I'd say if he's better than Elliot Anderson, I'd rather. They're slightly different players, but I'd rather have Bruno Guimaraes than Elliot Anderson all day long. Even though I think Elliot Anderson's a top player.
But Elliot Anderson is way younger, though, right? Like how old is Guimaraes? He's like 29, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's homegrown.
And he's got a year less on his contract than Tonali, I think, as well.
But you know what? I think with Tonali, I think it might be the agent pushing for higher wages. That's why he's bringing in Man City. I think that's. I'm not even sure if it's the fee, because I think, as Rain said, I think the fee is pretty clear. I think the agent just wants higher wages for him. But who knows?
Is something wrong with my? Is my camera all fuzzy?
A little bit, yeah. Oh, now it's better. It was fuzzy for a second.
Yep. Scanning. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Is that better now?
Looks good to me.
It's good.
Hang on. Yeah, it's all fuzzy. Shit. Okay, let me sort this out. Can you guys handle it for 2 seconds? I'll be back.
So I make it so coming back to selling, I think that is going to be where we live and die this summer now. It is going to be.
And that's been our issue forever. Like I said, with Romero, I'm getting concerned because nobody's coming in for him. All the fans who were telling me he's an elite player, there's going to be a line of top teams who want him. That's not the case. Atleti may be the only one, but they're skint. So, and Romero, there is no room for him. So if we sell him somehow for 50 million, I'll be happy.
He'll be the one player that gets sold below the market value, right? He'll end up being the one player that gets sold below because we're trying to get rid rather than someone coming in and trying to take a player that we want to keep. But from that point of view, we've completely rebuilt our back line that looks like it's going to be a much, much stronger team defense. You know what I mean? Rather than like Romero doing his own wildcard thing. So if we have to sell him for 40, 45 million, whatever, just let him go. Get him out of the club because he betrayed us, right? And then we, as we've been talking about, there's a lot of other players that we'll get rid of as well. If we get 200 million back, and as Sean said, we the net spend of 200 total because we get 200 back after we spend 400. Great, perfect. Let's just rebuild. It is a rebuild, if we end up getting the players that we need for now to go at a season with no European competition, it's an incredible start to the rebuild. Absolutely phenomenal start to the rebuild.
Spurs also need somebody to go and start realising some money on some of our youngsters. We sold Parrott for 5. Now these 5s and 10s really start to add up when you've got a tranche of young players. So we've got like 4 or 5 players who were out on loan last season. I'm talking the Donnelly, I'm talking the Scarlett, I'm talking the Abbotts. These guys at Divine, who we know we're going to get 5 for. These guys are never going to be, clearly, they're never going to be Tottenham Hotspur players. But if we can get between 5 and 10, Ashley Phillips as well, if we can get between 5 and 10 million for each of them, instantly there, you've got 50 million quid, right? That just comes straight in. You're talking about trying to realise the money on Romero. Maybe you get all of that 50 from selling our young players just for 5 to 10 million to Championship and League One. We need somebody to do some work. Basically, we need somebody in the club to just get on their phone and get selling.
Yeah, I mean, like Chelsea can sell anybody. They can sell their lunch lady. Like we should be acting like that. Just even like take maybe a million less, but sell all the deadwood. We have so much deadwood on the team. We gotta sell them all.
Yeah, the one person I don't want to sell though is Will Lancashire. And apparently Will Lancashire has got like 10, 15 clubs that are looking at him to pay 15, 20 million quid. If we sell him for 20 million quid, I hear what you're saying, Rain, about like the idea of like, just getting those 5 10s here and there and it all adds up in the end. 1,000,000%. I agree with all of the names that you've mentioned of the younger sort of generation. I don't really want to sell Micky Moore. I want to see what he can become. I definitely don't want to sell Will Lancashire. And I definitely but the rest of them, I'm more than happy to see Vuskovic go for the right money, right? I've upped my my opinion on that towards like, if he doesn't want to be at Tottenham, I never thought he did, then go for the right money. Berghvall, I kind of disagree with you a little bit, Adam, because I feel like as much as you think there's a real talent there, I know a lot of people do, I've never really seen it. I've never seen the talent from him. I've always felt like he runs around like a headless chicken. I'm sure there's a massive player in there, but if you can sell a 60, like you've just paid £85 million for a 21-year-old, if you can get 60 million quid for a 19-year-old, and the difference between the two players is far broader than 2 years of age. Like maybe Berghvall in 2 years' time will become a superstar. Fine, right? It didn't hold back. When De Bruyne left, sometimes you have these sort of situations, right? Salah, De Bruyne, they leave these clubs and go elsewhere and come back and they're better for it. But for me, like if you can sell, in order to fund what we're looking to do right now, if we're going to drop £200 million on those two, you definitely don't need Berghvall and or Archie Gray. And
I get you, but first of all, like if we're selling Romero, if we sell Sarr, if we sell Richarlison, there's a lot of players that we can sell and recoup decent money. I don't think we need to be selling the future generations in order to end up, regretting it later down the line. I don't want to end up being, Chelsea selling Salah, Chelsea selling De Bruyne, and that would absolutely, it would really ruffle my feathers. But can I just interject with one thing? And I don't want to be abrupt, but just one thing. We just got told that we got the here we go for Fernandes, right? And we're here talking about selling children when the people are on here for the Bomba. I would say, is it not? Should we not be thinking more positively about what does that mean? We've got Fernandes. If we get Fernandes and Tonali, which is looking likely, what does that mean for the draw for who we're bringing in? Whatever, we'll get the money however we get the money to bring in the players. But if we have Tonali and Fernandes in midfield, what does that mean for the kind of player that wants to play on our left wing? What does that mean for the kind of player that will come in for as a striker? But we can talk about.
What you meant? I'm sorry, I'm not sure I follow. What's the point?
Are we still going for a Savinho, or are we able to bring in someone stronger on the left? Because
I don't want Savinho. I've never wanted Savinho personally. I don't think he's anything like the 60 million, 70 million they want for him. It's mental. I don't know what it is that he does. He looks pretty, but he just looks flashy, but there's no output. It's all foreplay, no squirt. You think he's a fancier talent? It's like going to a strip club. You look at a bird, she's dancing close to you, and she gets you rock solid, and then you leave with blue balls because you can't do anything about it. There's no output with Savinho that I think is meaningful. He might be able to do something in a Tottenham team. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but for me, there are plenty, and it's the most saturated position in world football because all the talent, the dribbly kind of guys that are right-footed, play as a left wing forward. And that's like 85, 90% of people are right-footed in the planet, right? I think, something like that. And so you're most likely going to have that talent off the left-hand side. You could go and get, I don't think he's as good as Johnny waxes lyric about this guy all the time. I don't think he's that, like Said El Marla's good player. I don't think he's anywhere near as exceptional as Johnny says he is, but he's a good player. I'll make the same claim for a guy called Abdi from Real Betis. I really rate him, right? But Yandi Amandi was a player that we were talking about in January. I was talking about him in December. He's now going for 120 million. He's going to PSG, right? So, but there's so much talent out there.
How do you feel about Gakpo?
Antonio Nusa, by the way. Fuck me. You want to go and get a needle mover? You go to RB Leipzig and you go and pay 80 million quid for Antonio Nusa. Did you see the goal he just scored? And I'm not I'm not doing like a recency bias thing because I've always thought he's talent. Now, that guy is a proper needle mover. You go and pay that money, pay the extra 25 for Antonio Nusa. He's only 22. He's been around. I think he's 21 actually. He's been around for about 3 years, but he's just getting better and better and better and better. That's the sort of player you go and get on the left wing.
I think there is a high risk. Sorry, Adam. I think there is a high risk. I'm sorry, right? Because I remember being told what an exceptional player this guy is when he came to us by my mates. I've got quite a few mates over in Madrid who are Real Madrid season ticket holders, and when we got Brian Hill, oh, he's generational. I'm sorry. I may be wrong. Maybe, the future may prove me wrong.
You're talking about Savio. You're talking about
Savio looks to me like another Brian Hill. He looks like a guy. He looks like a guy who might be absolutely outstanding in the Spanish league, but he just doesn't have the power or the presence in the Premier League to cut.
No, I don't think he has good decision making. I think people make this point about Mathys Tel. Lubo makes this point about Mathys Tel. And I think sorry, I'm talking a lot because I'm excited tonight. I'll shut up in a second. But this Mathys Tel is someone I said to Lubo on a show a month ago. I said people that used to sit there and tell me, oh yeah, he works hard, but his output is shit. And look at the stats. They point to the stats when the output and the stats didn't suit the narrative. And then when the stats started to support the narrative that he's better than Somerville, he's got better stats than Dye, he's got better output this season than whoever, right? You insert those Savio, for example. Then they go, sorry, the stats don't tell you the whole story. But last time I spoke to you about this guy, the reason why the work rate and the input factors weren't enough was because the stats disproved it. Now the stats prove the point, and the input factors as the work rate is still there. If it's not the input and it's not the output, what is it? And Lubo said, and I thought it was a brilliant answer, and it shut me right up. It was intelligence in the final decision, and I was like, that's a fair point, right? If you don't rate Mathys Tel, and the reason why is because you think he's got poor immaturity in his decision making, that's a fair and reasonable pushback, right? And I think it's exactly the same when it comes to Savio. All of the flash, all of the flair. Maybe he'll turn into a top player. But for me, there is nothing about that guy that screams £70 million, unless you just like to see people dance around the pitch with the ball at their feet without anything coming out of it. He's a stripper. Go on,
hexagonal details for all the left wingers that we were linked to, and the one that came up trumps was Gakpo. You pointed out that in all of the areas, Gakpo, he was much more impressive. And but Eugene, you were shaking your head at the idea of Gakpo. Do you not think he's prem proven? He's doing some serious business in the World Cup. He would be doing much better for Liverpool if he'd get his game more often, but he just doesn't get played enough because Ekiteke came in, and
I'm just going I'm not gonna pretend like I watch every Gakpo game. I was just going by what the Liverpool fans are saying. So in the World Cup, the competition isn't great. So against the likes of Lindelof, he can boss it. On Liverpool, what the fans were saying is that he wasn't great, and I don't want to get other teams rejects, especially.
Can I just ask though, just quickly, which fans are you talking about though? Do you know? Are you saying fans? But do you?
Just
I'm asking
channels that I've been watching.
I'm asking people. Okay. So my question is
in the pub.
There's plenty of channels out there who will start saying crap just because they want to A, save face, and B, they want to make it out like, oh, he's not that big, he's not that important, so we don't want Spurs fans to like him enough that they'll actually make a move for him. My brother is a Liverpool fan, and my brother doesn't want Gakpo going anywhere. So I think the ones that I know personally are no, Gakpo's not someone that they would like to see go to Tottenham.
I mean, again, we'll never know. My point is, and again, just my opinion is, if we're chasing the likes of Liverpool, I don't want to pay big money for their rejects. You know what I mean? I want some fresh faces. Gakpo has talent, but if they're gonna want 60 million for him, given his age and given that he couldn't get playing time in Liverpool when they were desperate for a spark last season, and a lot of the fans, fan channels, were saying he was very underwhelming. For me, if we're going to spend big money, I just want to get excited, right? Nusa would get me excited because potential is there. Maybe in 2-3 years, he's going to become a top player. With Gakpo, that I believe that's his peak. Again, I could be wrong, but I wouldn't be excited for Gakpo. Just my opinion. And Savio, I agree with Sean and Rain. But Rain, the thing with Gil was he was physically overmatched. With Savio, as Sean is saying, is just his IQ, his decision making isn't there. So I wouldn't pay that much money for him.
Your standard is normally prem proven. So I like that you're interested in Nusa, but in terms of prem proven players, which of those would you want more than anybody?
I don't think there are a lot of prem proven wingers in the league, left wingers, who actually are for sale and who get me excited. And that's why I'd rather take a chance on a talented youngster like Nusa. Because again, Savio, again, also when you listen to City fans, Holland was not happy with him. He missed so many passing opportunities. His footballing IQ isn't there. And for me, that's a big red flag. Gakpo, other red flags. So again, with us spending big money on the player, I'm not sure if Gakpo is the guy, and I don't want Savio. I would rather go abroad and either get Fofana, get Nusa. So even if it doesn't work out, that we can sell those players for a profit. If we pay 70 million for Savio and he doesn't work out, we're stuck with him for 5 years. Same thing with Gakpo. For us, it's a risk, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, look at, so I've just put these 4 players in here, right? So Cody Gakpo's in the yellow, Savio is in the purple, Nusa's in the blue, Abdi Ezalzouli is in the orange. And this is across the top 5 leagues season total for 25-26. They all, and I've just picked these, whatever that is, like 12, 15. So non-penalty goals, XG, assists, assisted XG, I don't know why interceptions is in there. That shouldn't be in there. Tackles, interceptions shouldn't really be in there. Successful dribbles, dribble attempts, dribble success, carries, on-ball value, positive outcomes, which is basically when you touch the ball, when you're involved in the play, does the play end up with a free kick, a corner, or a shot on goal? Open play build-up, goals, touches in the box, and key passes. Essentially all you need. I don't know why tackles and interceptions are in there, but and interceptions they shouldn't be. But on those metrics, all of these players are solid, right? But the worst by far is probably the guy that's going to cost you the most in Savio. Savio is going to cost you 65, 70 million pounds, right? And I just don't think that those things, like I don't believe that he is he's the guy that we should be going for. Cody Gakpo, Nusa, Abdi, these guys for me are players that I would take in a heartbeat.
I would take
can be the
Gakpo.
man.
Sure.
Gakpo, like, I don't think he can take his man on. Like, he's an inside forward. Like, he just seems a bit slow to me. He's a good finisher, but if De Zerbi wants a winger, I don't think Gakpo is a traditional touchline winger. He just doesn't have.
Yeah, I agree.
Pace
I
or the
agree.
keeper.
Him and Marmoush to me seem more like strikers that get shoehorned on the wing.
Exactly. I agree. So that's my issue.
Agree.
Right? He's not going to be the man.
Agree.
He's not going to cross.
Yeah, I've watched a decent amount of Liverpool, and that I always think of Gakpo as on the edge of the box, on the left-hand side between the D and the edge of the penalty area. Not as an out-and-out winger.
From that point of view, the Savio connection is like De Zerbi seems to want him, right? So if De Zerbi really wants him, is there an argument to be made that he believes that he can mold him into something? And he is an out-and-out left winger. He is a touchline winger for sure.
Well, I think Eugene is absolutely onto it, isn't he? It's what type of profile winger is De Zerbi looking for? What type of is he looking for somebody who's going to hold it up? Is he looking for somebody who's going to bring it inside and come onto his right foot? What he's looking for, I'm absolutely clear what he's looking for. He's looking for somebody who can break the line on the left-hand side and be a target for decent through balls from a 6 or from one of the centre backs pushing up and making line-breaking passes at the fullbacks. That does mean somebody who's got pace. That does count out. That's not.
Yeah, you have to have pace, right? But you need all of the exciting things that can take players on. You want all of the things that Kudus can do, but then you also need someone who can shoot the ball on site and can create some output. And on that basis, I don't think Savio is enough. No. I've got to go and check that stat, by the way, because it looked like it was saying that Savio had was relatively a strong performer in terms of output, versus everybody else. I don't know if the tool has placed Savio as some sort of other position than a winger, because there's no chance that he's in the top 60% of goal scorers on a per 90 basis, unless he just didn't play very many minutes and a couple of goals is pretty competitive for wingers. I don't know, but the data is coming from StatsBomb. So anyway, long story short, for me, you need like a Saeed El Mala. That he's definitely got the output. But he's playing for FC Köln, right? So take that into consideration, into the context. Abdi for me is a player that I really, really genuinely love to see at Tottenham. I think he'd make the step up. But Cody Gakpo as well is someone I think that can do it. I understand your reservations about he's a more of a kind of burly player that doesn't really take players on in that same regard. But actually, in terms of touches in the box, in terms of creativity, in terms of on-ball value, I feel like there's a misconception around what it is that he provides. But again, you have to put it into the context of last season was doing that under Arne Slot's version, his second iteration of Liverpool, right? Which just didn't land, did it? It didn't do very well. Before I go into
he never got a run against.
Completely agree. Just quickly, guys, there's 7 super chats. I just got to run through them and then we can get back to the conversation. Sorry. M. Miller, big up to you. It says, who let the dogs out? The lion must be sleeping tonight. Yeah, we're going to go and get hold of that Goldbridge. Yes, we are. I don't know what we want. I don't know what you expect from us apart from banter and lots of it. Tottenham fans, unite. Get yourself over and give him those emojis. Big up to you, Ed Miller. Thank you very much indeed. South Stand Spurs says, here we go. Bomber bone, bomber bone, bomber bone.
Did you hear Goldbridge near the very beginning of his show? He was like, we're walking away. We're Craig David FC. That's really fantastic.
Wesley Van Helden says, we are getting our pants pulled down left, right and centre, but I'm loving the breeze. We're free balling. Free balling. Give that to you, Wesley. How's it, bro? How's it? Put another shrimp on the bra, yeah? Splano's back in and says, wages for all these players won't be an issue. I have good sources that old Viv's doing daily 12s out the back of the banana bar. Wowzers. That banana bar was a lot of fun, by the way.
Pictures in the WhatsApp group, please. But no, actually, second thoughts.
Yeah, no pictures. Big up, Dano. Appreciate you, mate. Very cool of you. Spurs Bingo says, remember for 11 months, big up to you, mate. He says, it's Bomber Day. We love to see it. Big up to you, mate. Thank you very much indeed for your support. Keith Edwards says, did we not get a here we go for Morgan Gibbs-White?
Come on.
Yeah, I think we did. I want to talk about that. I want to come to that in just a second.
Hang on, I just have one question for you about the winger bit. You know the Como winger you mentioned the other day? Martin, whatever his name is.
Batura, yeah.
Yeah. He's going to be... what age is he? He's young, isn't he?
Yeah, 22. 23, 22. He's a quality player, mate. His stats are phenomenal.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if we kind of, got that kind of profile of player, right? Then he's actually got like an output. And I'm just kind of looking at it, just going, would that kid represent a significant upgrade on Tel and Odebear? But he's going to cost about, like what? I don't know, 2/3. He's going to cost about 2/3 of what Savio would cost, right? And let's be honest, since Savio moved to City, I mean, he's been not even in the same conversation as the stats that he played when he was, playing
Girona.
In Girona, yeah. So at that stage, I'm just like, effectively, what you're trying to sign is the Girona version of Savio, but you're going to be paying what, the better part of, depending on what you believe, how much? 80 mil? Something like that?
For Savio?
Yeah.
65, 70, something like that. It's too much.
Yeah, I agree. But then how much
we'll be getting the Como version of that guy.
How much for the Como kid?
But that's a Como version of that guy, right?
70 million euros for Batura as well.
Yeah. So same money? Is that what we're saying?
Baturina. Is it Baturina? What's his fucking name? Martin.
Baturina,
yeah. Croatian guy there, mate. Croatians always do well in the Premier League.
Yeah, but he's 22 as opposed to Savio, who's what? 25?
Savio's 21, isn't he? Savio's 21, 22. Savio?
Yeah.
Baturina's 23 and Savio is 22. So not a lot in it.
Okay, so they're basically they're much of a muchness on age.
Can I just ask, why is age important? Why is age important, Hugo?
No, all I'm just saying, like, from just like what the perceived value is in the marketplace, right? As like, if one of them was in their like late 20s, then there might be a different perception of them versus, if they're in their early 20s and what their ceiling could be, all of those kind of things. Those are the factors. That's where the age bit comes in.
But we can compare Como and Man City, right? Como and Girona, that's comparable, right? So
yeah, that's what I'm comparing.
Lost it in Girona.
That's the.
You know what I mean? So Como, the competition level isn't amazing. So we're not sure if that's going to translate as well. So right, so that's
Martin
kind of
Baturina is a quality player, mate. Quality player.
But he's a midfielder. I thought is he a winger?
No, he's a winger.
I thought he plays the 8.
No, Martin Baturina is a 10 winger, 10/winger.
You should go to a Spurs Hub. You should have a look on a Spurs Hub.
My bad. That's true.
Look at the data tracker.
Just go and put 90 down for Yildiz.
Oh,
King and Yildiz for Juve. Let me get back to these super chats quickly. Did we not get Here We Go from Morgan Gibbs White? Says Keith. Yes, we did. Well, I think we did, but yeah, whatever.
I'm not sure we got one from ORNSTEIN. I think it was
I think Romero was going through his phase. He was having a bit of a weird wobble, wasn't he, when he was just throwing them out there left, right, and centre. He did have a great season.
Sky Sports have announced Fernandes to us as well.
Yeah, it's done. That's done.
Yeah.
The Chelsea Spur says, why not publicly inquire about Adam Wharton to essentially put a clock on the Tonali negotiations and take the bidding war bullet out of Newcastle United's gun? That's interesting. The problem, I think, is that to some degree, I think Tottenham are very much always trying to placate the Spurs fans a little bit. And if you start to then, if there's some sort of, Tottenham have expressed an interest in Adam Wharton, first of all, content's going to content. I'll be straight on here talking about him. So will everybody else who does the same thing. But if you then land at Tonali, there'll be half the fan base that are not impressed because they wanted Adam Wharton instead, even if you only mentioned Adam Wharton's name as a red herring, you know? Because Tottenham fans are always, they can't wait to find reasons to moan and complain. That's what we do here. It's what we do. It's part of the British culture. Big up to you, Chelsea Spur. Dave H says, big up, lads. Keep them coming. Big up to you, Dave. Appreciate you, mate. Appreciate you.
Well, if we lose out on both of those, on Tonali, let's for argument's sake, I think Adam Wharton's completely out of our range, to be honest. Then why wouldn't we pursue the Everton lad?
James Garner.
Yeah.
I don't know. James Garner's only had one good season, isn't he?
Is he a big improvement on Gallagher? Maybe, but
he's a very good player. James Garner had an amazing
season.
No,
he's very good, but Bentancur and Gallagher, is Gardner actually a surefire starter, right? We need somebody who actually day in, day out is penciled in for that number 6 spot. And I'm not sure if he is the guy at this point yet. He might be, but I don't know.
Let me just finish your super chat and then we'll get into the conversation. Big up to Stephen J. Cam. He says, great news regarding Fernandes. Fingers crossed for Tonali. We need to cut our losses with Savio. This has dragged on too long and he is not that great. Yeah, listen, of the two, I am so much more happier that we got Fernandes, personally. I think Tonali is a fantastic player. He's levels above what we have. I do think we are overpaying. But I do want to ask you this other question, guys. One of the ways that we have to be sort of shake hands with the reality here that we are now stacked and overloaded with similar sorts of style players. Neither Tonali nor Fernandes is an out-and-out 6. They can both do a better job in the 6 than anything that we've got. Pellegrini, obviously, we don't know if Pellegrini is probably sitting there going, "What happened to me?" You know, you told me you wanted me to come, and now am I just like the third wheel on a whatever the phrase is, third wheel on a bicycle or whatever.
Isn't the problem though that De Zerbi doesn't play out and out 6s? So why would we want to go out and get one?
Well, I just think Pellegrini is someone that offers more value than just on the pitch. I think he also offers value off the pitch. But either way, let's assume that he's not coming, but there's a possibility that he might still be coming as well. If you then have Conor Gallagher, Bentancur, Gray, Berghvall, and Tonali and Fernandes, that is an oversaturation of midfield talent. Someone's got to go.
Well,
right?
Pape Matar Sarr as well.
And Pape Matar Sarr as well, right? Jesus Christ. We're so overstacked in midfielders now that are all kind of everything players. That you
we're definitely selling Sarr.
So
there's no way we're not selling him.
Yeah, he needs to go. I think you'd send Berghvall and Gray on loan, wouldn't you?
I think you need to raise the money though. You've still got to, if Tottenham want to go and pay £100 million for a striker or £80 million for a striker this summer, which is what it's going to cost to get a Balogun in, you know, and even even with Brian Brobby, which I don't particularly rate that much better than what we already have, to be entirely honest. Even if that's the guy, he's going to cost you 65, 70 million. That's just the way the market is, right? So, you're going to need to raise money. You are going to have to raise money. So Romero suddenly isn't all that desired. For me, I think that Berghvall does need to be sold. And if there's a team like Nottingham Forest that are out there trying to sniff around and they've got 115 M's in their back pocket burning a hole they need to replace in the midfield, I actually would possibly go to the conversation with Marinakis, but go in there with a level of massive supremacy in the leverage stakes and maybe come back and say, what's the situation with Gibbs White? because I still think Tottenham need a player that can hang off the right-hand side and also play in the 10.
Yeah,
And that's separate to the left winger and the striker. I think Tottenham arguably need Tonali and then 3 other players. You need a striker, you need a left winger, and then you need someone that can hang off the 10 or play off the right-hand side. And Gibbs White would be brilliant in that solution. Plus, he's homegrown. So do you go to Forest and say, you can have Berghvall and we'll give you 50 million quid? And then that still leaves you with £1 million quid to go and get the other 2.
If you bring in Gibbs White, you're putting us in a position where we're stuck with, like, our number 1 right winger is Kudus. Our number 1 10 is arguably Maddison, but you still have Xavi Simons, right?
But Simons is going to be out until April next year.
But what you're looking for is someone who's like understudy to both of those positions. That's not Morgan Gibbs White because he's going to want to play. Do you know who is the understudy in those positions? It's Berghvall.
No, Gibbs is over Maddison all day long.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, you need Maddison to stay this year, but you sell Maddison next year. Xavi Simons is going to miss the entirety of next season. So if you can write Xavi Simons off for the most part,
The entirety of next season.
or April.
No, it's April, which is essentially the entirety of next season, isn't it?
I didn't hear that. Wow.
No,
Sorry, that's news for me.
An ACL, unless you're like superhuman, an ACL takes a year out of your game.
Yep. But you
And
know,
then-
Unless you're 5'7", at which point you reduce it by about a third.
no,
Yeah,
it's
but then
a
you've
year.
also got to get back up to match fitness and sharpness and everything else that goes with it, right? You're not just going to magically hit the ground.
And James Maddison gets, James Maddison, he's going to get injured next season. And even when he's not injured, he's still shit for half the season when he's getting back to his full level.
Yeah.
James Maddison is a bit part player. Like he's when he's good and he's on it, he's amazing.
He's the
But
best.
he's always injured and he's always going to... Go on, guys. So I'm talking too much.
I'm coming back to the Sarr discussion that we had about 3 or 4 years ago when there were rumours we were being offered 60, 70 million, and you said we should just take the money. The money's on the table, just take it, right? And
For who?
and there was such for Sarr, for Pape Matar Sarr, and there was many of us.
We were offered 70 million quid, and I said we should take it.
There were rumours saying that we were being offered 60, 70 million, and it was at the time when he just got the lawnmower nickname. You know, he covers every single blade of grass, and I still look back at that and think. If we knew now if we knew then what we know now, we would have 100% taken that 60. If that was on the table, we would have taken that 60, 70 million. And so I'm trying to learn here, right? So if there is money, if there's 50, 60 million on the table for Berghvall, and we can get players who we know are going to be better than he is right now, I just do it.
Just get a buyback clause like Madrid does. But again, for me, I would sell Bentancur first and Gallagher. Obviously, Gallagher's not going to go because nobody's going to want him. We just signed him. But Bentancur...
Gallagher's way better than Berghvall.
On 200K a week, but with 1 game a week. With one game a week.
I've never agreed with Eugene more than thinking that we got to get rid of Bentancur
1 game
first.
a week. We don't need Bentancur and Gallagher on the team. If we get
I tend to agree with you guys about Bentancur. I've never really rated him that much since his injury. However, credit where it's due, he was instrumental in keeping us up.
Yeah, but again,
even at that,
on the bench.
he played. Bentancur plays 50% stinkers and 50% does very well, right? And he had a stinker against Chelsea. Now I know, like we played fairly decently against Chelsea, considering that we normally get our asses kicked. But Bentancur was crap. I think that
I'm not saying he's a bad player. I like him.
Yeah, he's not terrible, but 50-50, like.
Yeah, like if he's not starting for us, having expensive players on the bench with 1 game a week, I would rather have Archie Gray and Berghvall on the bench than Bentancur and Gallagher, in my opinion.
But I would rather, bearing in mind that the aim surely at the end of this coming season is to have qualified for Europe again, then it behooves
and I'm hoping they're going to improve.
It behooves us to keep Gallagher, right? Because he's an English player. So with that in mind...
Yeah, I think we're going to sell him.
Like
we're going to have a hard time selling him. But Bentancur, for sure, sell him.
I just don't think it makes sense to sell Gallagher because of the dynamics of Europe.
Yeah, but he's on high
And
wages,
you've got to
man.
build
Like,
a squad. You've got to build a squad. The problem that we have had for far too long is not only the lack of general quality of the squad, but it is the lack of strength and depth of the squad, right? That has been a massive problem for a long time, that when the best players have, got injured, that there's been a massive gulf between who steps up to the plate next. And that's the point, is that we've got to, like, if you're going to be a serious club, you've got to build not only a really good first 11, but, like a really good, for argument's sake, 22. And that comes obviously at a price and whatever else, but we can't have any like more emotions involved or whatever else. Like there comes a point where, one just has to just be a little bit brutal with some of the players and say, look, thank you for everything you did at that particular stage in our evolution. But now, in order to really kick on to the next, next stage and whatever else, like you're not going to be you're not going to be good enough for what we want to do. Like,
for sure.
You've got to have a higher number of top quality players in the squad at any one time. It's not a case of either and, it has to be both and.
We finished 17th twice. Nobody should be off limits. Anybody can be for sale.
Completely agree.
Just get them out.
Like,
get all the deadwood out.
Whether it be an ability or mentality.
Would you go to Nottingham Forest in good faith and try to negotiate about Berghvall?
Only if we get Gibbs White back, unless they really want to overpay. If they want to like pay 60 million for Berghvall and the buyback clause or something, sure. But Gibbs White, I would kill for Gibbs White. He would be such a difference maker for us.
And how much realistically do you think that he's going to, if we go in there and say, whatever, how much realistically, take Berghvall out of the equation, how much do you think that Marinakis is going to want for Morgan Gibbs White?
I mean, I would rather pay Tonali money for Gibbs White.
He's a £100 million player. Based on what we're seeing this year, he's a £100 million player. But yep. I'm sitting there going, okay, we've got a player that they want in Berghvall. They've got 115 million M's in their pocket, right? They're burning a hole. They need a midfielder. They rate Berghvall. Cool. Someone explain to me what exactly it is that Berghvall has done at Tottenham that proves that he is worth anything like £60 million. Like, yes, he's got a great reputation. Yes, a lot of teams see something in him and think that he's going to be there. But isn't this exactly what Tottenham have done themselves for years and years and years?
Yeah,
which is overpay for players that have massive amounts of potential on paper that don't materialise. Pape Sarr was one. Right, we paid 10 million quid for him, but he was supposed to be the next Toure fucking
Vieira.
Next Vieira. Like Archie Gray, we paid 40 million quid for him. Has he actually shown anything like to prove that to be the point? They might do, but they haven't yet. A bird in the hand.
Why did Archie Gray, by the way?
If someone wants to drop 60 million quid on Berghvall, based on the Berghvall that we have seen in the Premier League standard, he can't even get into the Sweden team. He can't even start for the Swedish national team. And when he has done, he's had a poor World Cup so far. I'm sorry. For me, people are hanging on to this idea. Same with people like Micky Moore. Because he's one of our own, people think that Micky Moore is worth 10 times more than what a reasonable player would be worth for what he has done at the standard in which he's done it. I know they're kids. I know they might become things. But if you are offered premium money, oven-baked money for potential, you need to sit there and take that on because you can go and rework that into people that have already proven it.
But we don't have that luxury, Sean. We don't have enough top quality players to sprinkle in a couple.
Go and get them. Go and get them.
No, I'm saying, but if Nottingham Forest have already put, if it's true that Forest or a Premier League club, it's had a 50 million euro bid, which is 45 million quid, rejected out of hand for Lucas Berghvall, and that was their opening bid.
Yep.
Then you know that they're willing to maybe go to 65, 70.
Yeah.
Surely we're taking 65, 70 million for Berghvall.
Yeah, or at least have the conversation.
If it is Forest, you go and say, we'll take Gibbs White. If you value him at 110, fair enough, right? He's had a fucking unbelievable season. and then we'll value Berghvall at 65, and we'll pay you the net 50 or the net 40. Isn't that like lose Berghvall, get Morgan Gibbs-White, and you're 40 million quid worse off? Like, come on now. What?
Yeah, I don't see too many fans that are going to be upset about that, surely.
Yeah, I think there's two different things, though. I think one is just generally speaking, talking about losing Berghvall, and the other is what do we get if we lose him? You know, like if we just sell him, have extra money in the coffers, I don't know that it's quite the same thing as like this arrangement that you've just outlined. You know, like if we're looking at it from the perspective of we're seeing a direct swap, fair enough, plus cash, but cash means nothing to a fan.
Well,
right?
It's never
we're seeing a swap.
It's never a direct swap. But like Vuskovic might end up going to Brighton, and if like sorry to cut you off there, Adam, but like if we end up getting 60 million quid for Vuskovic, then we've essentially swapped Vuskovic for Van Hecke plus 10 million quid. Like, fine with me. And I was, by the way, I've updated my opinion on this as I've thought about it, right? As I've gone along, I'm not flip-flopping. I've been chewing over people's ideas. Kate influenced me a little bit on this one as well. I thought she made a really good argument. Like, I just feel like that's fine. Maybe Vuskovic goes on to be £100 million player. Maybe he does, right? Maybe you put the 20% sell-on fee into the price. But with Berghvall, I've not seen anything from him that makes me think that he's anything like that standard. If it wasn't for the fact that he came with this, Barcelona wanted him, and he's a Swedish, he's a Ken doll. Like I don't really know what it is that he's shown that makes anybody sit there and go, no, he's got so much something about him.
Everybody remembers Liverpool, and that's the one game where he's shone out. I've seen so many ill-disciplined games from Berghvall, and that will come with experience, and that will come with games. Those are games that he shouldn't be getting.
That's the same. It was the same thing. Harry Winks had one good game against Real.
Yeah, those are games he shouldn't be getting at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. At Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, we should be playing 24 to 28-year-old players who are already proven, who've already done it, who've already had 3 or 4 solid seasons in top flight leagues. We should not be a creche to bring on Lucas Berghvall. He joined us rather than Barcelona because Barcelona weren't going to play him regularly. We haven't played him regularly, and we're not going to play him regularly.
Also, Rain, doesn't it also, like, people think that the success of our youth academy, I know Berghvall never came into the youth academy, right? But people think of the success of a youth academy is how many of them break through to your first team. Yeah. What it should really be thought of is how does the youth academy solicit and facilitate what it is that you want to do in your first team. Look at what Manchester City do, right? City, you could look like Morgan Rogers, Pedro Porro. Ferran Torres. The amount of players that have never played for Manchester City, but that came through the City Academy, went out on loan, was sold to the players, and then they had sell-on fees in the future. So much of what Manchester City are capable of doing on the first team is because of the incremental money that comes in through players that never actually played for them but went through their youth academy.
Not all of it was £40 million Palmer. A lot of that cash that they were getting is 5, 10, 15 million that they're just flipping these kids. They're literally just flipping them
they made like 9 million quid. They made 9 million quid out of us buying Pedro Porro from Sporting. And he never played for City. He never played for City, Pedro Porro.
And look at Troy Parrott. We've sold him for 5. 5 was not a lot of money. But you put a 25% sell-on clause there. He goes to Belgium, Holland, wherever he is. He has a couple of standout seasons. Somebody pays 20 million. You double your money. This is what needs to happen. We need to start churning these players out. And then finding every now and again, giving like 1 or 2 of them a season. This is where I come from. Give 1 or 2 of them a season, a chance to be like third backup, and give them 10, 15 minutes, and you'll never know. One of them will come on for those 15 minutes, and they'll have an absolute stonker in the Premier League. They'll be absolutely stand out. And then you'll try them again 15 minutes later, and they'll be like, well, actually, this kid's actually got something about him.
Yeah. To me, selling Berghvall for that sort of money, we're idiots if we don't take that sort of money for him.
Yeah.
I think it makes a whole load of sense, right? As long as obviously we're replacing with with better.
But we don't need Berghvall. Like, where does Berghvall? In fact, let me expand the argument. Absent injuries, which you know are going to come, let's assume that our starting midfield next season is going to be Tonali and Fernandes, right? And then someone in front of them, Maddison probably, right? Just as for the starting berth, right? I know we haven't got Tonali yet, but let's just assume that gets done as well for the sake of the argument. If that happens, on the bench, as it stands, fully fit, you have Berghvall, Archie Gray, Bentancur, Sarr, and Conor Gallagher. All of them are better double pivot players than they are 10s. You don't need all of them. You need Tonali and Fernandes and 3 others that can play in the double pivot. And that 3 for me.
Conor Gallagher is not a better double pivot than he's a 10. Just FYI.
Yeah, he's a 10.
I don't think he's a 10.
He's more of an 8-10 than he is an 8-6 for sure.
Sure. But like, he's not an out 10. He's not quick enough to be a 10.
No, I mean when he played at Palace, he played 8-10, right?
Yeah,
and he was fast. But they
didn't play in the 4-2-3-1, which the way that unless Zerbi's going to play something different, he played in a different sort of model, right? So
Eugene's right though. He played in the 10 for us in the last few games that kept us up as well.
Yeah, but
you're making the argument then that right now Conor Gallagher and Maddison are going to fight it out for the 10 spot. Even if that's your argument, fair enough, right? I disagree, but if that's I think you'll see it occasionally, but not all the time.
Who's fighting with Maddison for the 10 then? Who's fighting with Maddison for the 10?
Well, at the moment, as it stands, probably get Conor Gallagher. Yeah.
I don't think that's the argument, though.
No, it's not because I don't think that's the intended end of the season business. I think that's what I'm saying. I think Tottenham need to go and get someone like an Akliouche, which I know he's not going to come. He's going to go to PSG, or someone that can play off the right, someone that can play in the 10. So that's why I'm making the argument for Morgan Gibbs White. But my point is around like the midfielders. Do you how many minutes does Archie Gray get next? Even if you sell Berghvall, what minutes does Archie Gray get next season?
I think he plays going on loan. He should.
I think he plays in all the Carabao Cup games. I think he plays every single one of the Carabao Cup games.
That's not enough.
That could be 2 games. That's not enough for a player we spent 40 million quid for to come and sit 5th choice of a double pivot.
I think he should be going on loan.
He'll be behind Bentancur. He'll be behind. I mean, Sarr obviously is the bottom of the pack, bottom of the pack in that sort of pecking order, right?
Probably.
But like, there's an argument to say that Archie Gray should go on loan. Are you right, Hugo? But where does he go? I don't know.
I think
there's injury problems. You can't also liquidate all of them.
There's 90 minutes in a football match. There's 90 minutes of a football match, and we've now got what five odd subs. Yeah, Archie Gray will play minutes.
I agree, Ray. Yes,
he's going to play minutes.
He's going to play.
We don't need him to be 3rd choice. We don't even need him to be 4th choice. Just keep him at the football club. And do you know what? History has shown us he'll probably get 2,000 minutes.
But Rain, like, look, Bentancur is in front of him. Like, I don't want to see him play right back or center back. Like, we're going to ruin his career.
That's my point. I'd rather send him out and have him play in a specialist position like 6 for like the likes of a Hull or something like that. Because he needs to learn proper. He needs to
why is our goal to develop Archie Gray as a footballer? Why is our goal not to use Archie Gray for the best resource that he is at our club? Why is our goal to somehow sort of get some kind of ethereal future development from Archie Gray just by sending him out on loan, when it's inarguable that he will get minutes if he stays at our football club?
Let's make the case for a second. Let's make the case for 1 second, right? That I know, like Sean, you put forward the idea of bringing in a 10 that can also play off the right. Fair enough. That's something that we can consider. But we know we want a striker, a left winger, and another midfielder, right? So, assuming like we reckon Tonali's coming in, we're saying that for the sake of the argument. So we're all saying sell Berghvall. Then you've got and we're saying sell Sarr. So are we not saying then implicitly that it's Tonali for Fernandes, the double pivot, and then the understudies are Bentancur and Archie Gray? Because I'm telling you, unless you're right and we do bring in a 10 that can also hang off the left, then Gallagher is playing in the 10 with Maddison.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good point.
So Sarr, Berghvall gone makes them money. Bentancur, Archie Gray are backups.
I haven't seen any bids for Pape Sarr. We haven't seen any. It's a good point, Adam. I'll take that on the chin.
No, Adam, you're right. I really like Archie Gray. It's just I want him to play in his position. We've been wasting his career playing center back, right back, and
so let him play there though. Let him play in the double pivot under De Zerbi, and he will teach him.
10 minutes a game.
It's not 10 minutes. No.
I need him to play.
No, it's not going to be 10 minutes because let's be fair. I agree with what Rain was saying. Because I reckon he'll play all of the Carabao Cup games, but there's also 90 minutes in every single Premier League game. And if we have just let's say we're going to be an absolute showstopper of a team next season under De Zerbi with these new players. If we're playing against a Coventry and at half time we're 2-3-0 up, maybe I'm not trying to be an asshole here and say that they're a bad team, but let's just say there are some games in the season where we'll be up quite early. Bring Gray on then.
Score the goals, of course.
No,
yeah, that's true. But we have said that we were bringing in we're bringing in a left winger and we're bringing in a striker anyway. So let's say that we're banging the goals away. Gray's going to get minutes if we feel like we've already put the game to bed by minute 60.
Eugene, I don't make you wrong that we have absolutely stalled his career and that there's a risk that we might ruin it. The problem was that we should never have bought him. But he's with us now. And you know what? You guys are saying, send him out on loan. He played 3,200 minutes in the 24-25 season. And he played 2,300 minutes in the 25-26 season for us. And now you're saying, send him out on loan to another club.
But he played as a right back. I don't want to see him as the right back. I don't want to see
No, but he will play. We know in this situation he's playing in the double pivot, right?
I mean, if that's the case,
I
want him to develop
Bentancur and keep Archie Gray. If we don't,
want him to develop as a 6 and to get better at playing it as
Hugo, he does. First of all, there's no point in you pigeonholing him. There's no point in you putting him in the 6 because you want him in the 6 when he's better than just playing in the 6. The guy. He's able to play really well going forward, crossing balls into the striker. But there's no point in you shoehorning him into the 6 when he shouldn't be limited by like what Hugo wants. To be fair, but also if we have De Zerbi as our manager for at least 3 years, we're not playing with a 6. So let him develop as an 8, and I think he's got the skill to be able to do it. We've seen him play exquisite passes into the forward players at times. So let him be an 8.
Well, not very often that he passes the ball forward. He's more of a sideways specialist. But
no, he does. No. What you need to watch some of his highlights back, man. He's definitely
don't throw the YouTube highlight reel thing at me. Don't do that.
If he's done it, he's done it. Do you know what I mean? If he can pass the ball forward, if there's actual video,
anyone can edit together a player hitting.
It's not editing, mate. If there's video footage of him passing a ball forward, then he's passed the ball forward. And if it's a high success rate, it's a high success rate. I think the guy is actually a really good passer of the ball. He's definitely better than feckin' Sarr and Bentancur anyway.
Well, we're talking about Archie Gray's propensity or lack thereof.
We're still on Gray
to make line-breaking passes.
But moving on to
shall I get his stats up?
Yeah.
Let's
look at the progressive passing.
And whilst Sean gets his stats up, does anybody else think that Maddison isn't really a 10 anymore? Does anybody else think that Maddison actually has started to drop back into an 8?
He has to be a 10 for us this season, though. It makes no difference. Whether I agree with you. I've made that case in the past that he's definitely able to. He's able to put the foot in for the tackle. He's able to win the ball back, and he's able to progress from deeper on the pitch.
Adam, I've seen him pick up the balls too many times.
Yeah, he's well able. He's well able, Rain. But let's be fair. We literally just said we have a problem of having too many 8s and not enough 10s. Maddison is playing in the 10. He's playing in the 10.
All right, listen, let's just got saying. So this is Archie Gray in the Premier League. He made 24 appearances. Let's do a per season, a per 90 versus top 5 midfielders. So his best stat, his best attribute is that he basically has never dribbled past, right? So even though that's a bit misleading, it says dribble past 100th percentile. It means that he's not dribbled past. Essentially, like you can see, when people run at him, his ability to pick them off. The tackle on a versus dribble pass percentage is 95%. So 95% of the time, when someone's trying to run past him, he picks them off. Really impressed. Fucking, I didn't realize. I had no idea that was a standout stat for him. There you go. Which is important, especially in transitional teams, which actually is exactly what other teams will try to do against De Zerbi ball, right? So if you've got a 6 there or someone in the pivot that hangs back, and then someone tries to break the man-to-man press, which is what De Zerbi does. De Zerbi will try to play 4-2-3-1 with high intensity, high possession. But when we lose possession, he will try to press man-to-man. And when that happens, you need someone there to make sure you're not dribbled past. Because in a nutshell, once you do man-to-man press, as soon as the first player is dribbled past, then the entire game opens up, right? So having a player there that has the ability to make sure that doesn't happen when it's him that is the person that's being attempted to be dribbled past, and he's got a 95% success rate of stopping that. I had no idea that stat existed. This is the first time looking at it. That's actually really impressive. All 3 of those stats are really impressive. What else is he good at? Pressured pass length. How good is he at passing the ball successfully when under pressure? And when he's under pressure himself in the ball, he can still get the ball 20 meters into the successful completion. Pretty impressive. Thank you very much. Pretty impressive stuff. Forward pass percentage, 24. 1 in 4 of his passes is progressive. Pretty impressive. Completed crosses is 84th percentile relative to all other 6s in the league.
Hugo, you seeing that stat? Forward passes, yeah? You seeing that stat? Lovely.
Listen, before you come back in, Hugo, before you come back in, the specifics of these stats can be misleading, because if I click on the weaknesses, you might also see passing related weaknesses. So let's just before we gloat, let's have a look. See, well, penalties 1 in doing. Okay, that's irrelevant. Let's look at these ones here. Fouls 1. So he's not that great on the ball in terms of drawing fouls. Pass length ratio, completed pass length as a ratio of attempted pass length. Long ball percentage 47%. So he's not great at getting the ball. He's bottom 7th percentile for that. Line breaking passes into 5 meters of space. That's more of an advanced midfielder sort of technique anyway. Key passes that lead to shots. Only 1 every 3 games. Bottom 13th percentile. See, the specifics of these stats are so deep and so nuanced that you can basically make an argument that he's a good passer and a bad passer depending on how you look at it. That makes sense.
I think a lot of these red stats you're showing here, Sean, actually call out how we were playing last season with a lack of ambition, with a lack of ambition of like breaking the line, with a lack of playing. Everything was to feet and everything was 20 meters, right? But we know that with De Zerbi, what De Zerbi wants is that ball that a winger is going to run onto. He wants the bounce and then the ball to be played really, really quick to break the lines. I think Gray will learn a lot from the players that we seem to be acquiring in midfield.
Deep progressions he's pretty poor at. Only 3 deep progressions. That's important. That's something we need to be better at, and he doesn't offer that, or at least didn't last season. Listen, I'm still trying to get my head around. I think I'm going to be like. By the way, all of this is available on the Spurs Hub, guys. If you are people that are interested in looking into players rather than just hearing us talk about players, get onto the Spurs Hub, and there's a free version of this tool that is a little bit dialed back and gives you the simple stuff. And there's also obviously a pro tier which I haven't launched yet that will go for those real statisticians that you can get into. But I'm going to be building out using Claude. I'm going to be building out a lot more simpler kind of ways of making sense of this data, because the data is like incredibly deep. But you know, I'm someone who spends all day long looking at this shit, and I still don't fully understand the depths of what I've got access to here. So please do get over and spread the word as well. If you're around, if you're in WhatsApp groups or whatever, and you know people that you know are interested in that sort of stuff, please do spread the word, guys. Let me just quickly do these super chats, and then I want to ask you guys about Balogun Let's move up the pitch towards a striker role. I don't think we're going to settle anything on the Archie Gray conversation tonight. AV2222, big up to you, very generous. He says the team haven't been good enough for 2 years. We need to sell. Plus we have injured Kulu, Kudus, Maddison, Simmons, Odebear, Solanke. Yeah, we're going to move into that area of the park in just a second, AV. It's an interesting conversation regarding Berghvall. I feel like some of the panel here see something and others don't. Haaland's just scored, as he late on. Wow, look at that. Yeah. Big up to you, though. Thank you very much indeed. Shay Bright, big up to Shay. He says, great show, guys. Is it me or does Hugo look like what Heath Ledger would look like if he was still alive? Why so serious?
That's quite a compliment, in fairness.
Maybe it is.
Heath Ledger was a really good-looking chap. I'm not buying
I can't see it,
Yeah.
Big up, Shay. Big up to you, mate. Thank you very much for the generous super chat. JK Who, big up to JK from Singapore. I love Singapore, mate. It's the coolest, very cool city. Got their head on their shoulders of how to run a place over in Singapore. Big fan of it. My brother lives out there, and I always have a good time. Big up to you. Thank you for your support. And Daniel Field has put in a massive super sticker. Choo to you, Daniel. £5 super sticker. You don't often get, usually when people put £5, didn't they want to say something? You're just saying, all right, Shawnee, it's me, it's Danny Boy. And I appreciate you, Danny. Thank you very much, mate. Very, very generous. All right, guys, let's move on to this other story that came out of Santi Auno today, that Tottenham are making a prioritised drive for Folarin Balogun, the ex-Arsenal player who's currently playing for America. It's interesting because I really do rate him. Been really impressed with his performances for Monaco. Don't necessarily think that he's a perfect fit for Premier League, although I could see him being a bit of a Jermaine Defoe kind of like whippersnapper type of player. But I can see the guy who watches probably more of American, maybe watches the American games with a closer eye than maybe other people on the chat have. Eugene, you're shaking your head. What don't you like about Balogun?
I think every World Cup there is a player that gets all the hype based on performance, and that the player flops. Balogun, I watched a lot of him for the national team. I'm just not impressed. He does well against weaker competition. I just don't see him succeeding in the Prem. So again, if we can get him for 30 million, sure. If it's 60,
is he a Jonathan David? Do you think he's a Jonathan David?
When people last season wanted David in the free, I was telling him, look, I watched a lot of him. Same thing with Jimenez, right? When they play, like I watched a lot of them for national teams. They're just not good enough to play in the Prem. And Balogun, that's a good comparison, Sean. I feel like he's David. He's not going to do well in a top league.
I was really disappointed with Jonathan David when he went to Italy.
He's not worth it.
Because I spent years saying I don't rate Jonathan David. I think he's someone who does well, but you can't hate his numbers. But then the season before last, I just seen that he'd upped his game a little bit. He'd become more well-rounded. And so then I was like, well, okay, I'll get on board it if he's going to come. He goes to Juve, but he was terrible for Juve. Absolutely shocking.
Mm-hmm. You know what, Sean? It's the attributes, right? Like for a striker or just any player, what are like his attributes that make him a top player? With Balogun,
I just think he's got a low back. He's got a low. From what I've seen of Balogun, he's got a real low back lift, right? And I like the way he can snap a shot off it from anywhere. I like his pace. I like his movement, and I think that he's someone that he looks like he's 2-footed to me, but I'm not like dialed in on his weaker foot. But what I've seen of him, I think he's a good player. 100% there's question marks around whether he can lift it in the Premier League. I don't think he's physical, but he's a little guy, right? He's 5'9", 5'10". So like, is he the Jermaine Defoe? Is he a Jermaine Defoe kind of rebrand, like a regen, or is he just a player that flatters to deceive in the French league? I don't know. And I'll take your point, and I think maybe Jonathan David is a lesson there we all need to learn, because Jonathan David scores fucking bundles of goals at every level. But he goes to a tougher, stiffer competition league, and he didn't do it. So,
And with us, when you're a top player, just last thing, like in order for us to improve on Solanke and Richalison, we need a top striker. Not even a top, a good striker. With Balogun, that's another question mark. And I don't think we can take risks at this point. We need a good player, a good striker.
I think the no risks point is we need somebody who we've got a pretty good chance of getting 15 to 20 goals out of next season. That's it. That's what we need.
We need a 20-goal striker. That should be realistic.
They don't really exist anymore, though, Hugo, mate. Like only one player got more than 20 goals last season in the Prem, and that was Erling Haaland. And he's obviously one of the greatest, and he's also like
I'm talking about across all comps.
How many did Igor Thiago get?
I'm just saying, but like the game has pivoted away from like back in the sort of 2010s, that decade, there'd be 15 players that would get somewhere close to 20 goals or more. These last couple of seasons,
did Igor Thiago, did he not get 20, or he got like close to 20?
He got 22. He got 22.
Who, Igor Thiago?
Yeah.
In the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
He got like 18, I think. He was
no, he didn't get,
very close to Haaland.
He didn't.
But he was like
very close to Haaland.
Don't start with Thiago.
Igor Thiago in the Premier League last season got
22.
Did he?
Oh, he's an absolute shocker.
He's like Solanke, one season wonder.
So the what you need to look for, Sean, is how many of those were pens? That's the question.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, non-penalty goals, 100% non-penalty. Let me look.
Non-penalty. Yeah.
Hold on, Haaland's goals.
I've saved you, mate. I've saved you, mate.
AC in the mud.
Oh yeah, just
Igor
some of Haaland's goals were penalties as well, for crying out loud.
Igor Thiago last season got 14 non-penalty goals.
Oh,
and how many did Haaland get? Because
hang on, whoa, back up. Of the goals that he got scored on in penalties, how many were fouls on him in the box?
0.
Is that true?
No. Sorry.
Rain's just making up. Just like, no, not going to entertain it. No.
I'd love us to get Thiago. I'd love us to go and get Thiago. I think Brentford.
Erling Haaland got 24 non-penalty goals last season.
Not in the Prem.
In the 24.
24 non-penalty goals in the Prem. How many penalties did he get?
Hang about.
I'd love us to get Thiago.
I would take
Thiago's
Haaland
going to cost a lot of money.
Erling Haaland got. Fucking hurry up, you bastard!
But Thiago is a Solanke regen. It's going to be the same, like one season wonder.
Yeah, one season wonder.
Goals and that's it.
He's not a one season wonder. Solanke.
Haaland got 27 goals, 3 of them pens, 24 non-pens.
Solanke has literally had one.
Oh, my point was always right, you distrustful bastards. Non-penalty goals, only one person got more than 20. Okay, it doesn't happen anymore.
Still though. But we know that Erling Haaland is an absolute machine, and Igor Thiago is the best of human beings that we're playing.
The best of the rest.
In the Premier League.
He's had a shocking World Cup, though, hasn't he?
So what would Ryan be worth?
Yeah, Ryan's not a striker, but like we fucked up massively. We were interested in Rayan, right? And Johnny's right about this. But I heard Johnny the other day saying Johnny's mate, who's the agent, who now is like the head of the company that has a good relationship with Tottenham. I forget the name. He's now the head of Brazil down there or whatever. And his agent mate was like, don't even know who, like the player that we signed, Sousa. He's not even on my radar. Like he's not even someone that's on the radar of agents in Brazil. And Tottenham go and spend 12 million quid for him. And Rayan was an option back in the day. Endrick was an option. All these players that were coming through Brazil, and Tottenham like, nah, I don't want any of them. Don't want them. Let's go and get that kid left back. What are we doing here?
Yeah, strength in depth, Sean. Strength in depth.
What are we doing with him, by the way? Do you think we're gonna loan him out this year?
Yeah, it should be, right?
Definitely.
Is he going to be a Vinicius? Is he going to be a Vinicius? Who was the bloke who Veliz? Is he going to be a Veliz?
Or Brian Hill, or like keep it coming, you know.
I don't know. You could see, if in a couple of seasons he might progress. He might end up being able to do, but you never. It's too early to call. Too early to tell. He won't play for us next season. That's all we know for sure.
Yeah. So okay, but back to the striker role then. So what are we doing? Are we? So we're not. You're not interested in Balogun. Eugene's not interested in Balogun. Adam.
Hayan is not a striker.
Sorry.
Hayan is not a striker, so he's not in the picture.
Who's not a striker?
Hayan is how you say it. Hayan. His name is Hayan, not Ryan.
You're being a fucking donut. Shut up, mate. We're doing English. What are you doing it?
Mind you,
he's not a striker. He's a right winger.
Yeah, well, Thierry Henry was a winger to start with, wasn't he?
Hey, man. Put Van up front. That's what I would do. Van is a better striker than Richalison and Solanke. He's going to score for us.
So who's the striker that you'd like to see us bring in then? Let's simplify the conversation.
How do we fit? Like the two that were being talked about at the moment is Brobby and
he's a big fucking bully.
I don't want Mr. Blobby.
Brian Brobby is
no interest in Mr. Blobby.
He's not technical at all. He's just big and strong.
He's just he's a unit. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. He's a unit, but is he much better than like a fully fit Solanke or a Richarlison that's on the ball? I don't think so.
No.
Forget going to Man City for Savinho. Go get Nusa instead for less money, and go put the money down on Marmoush, because Marmoush in the number 9 is absolutely going to destroy teams.
Listen, if we end up, Adam, if we end up in August the 31st with Tonali, Fernandes, Van Heck, Dubravka, Senesi, Robertson, Marmoush, and fucking Antonio Nusa, I don't even need a 10, right? That's the best transfer window that Tottenham have ever had in the history of ever having transfer windows.
I think that would be the best transfer window anyone ever had in the history of transfer windows.
To round us off before the end of the season.
And to get rid of
blasting for a week with that sort of energy. What are we doing here?
They should be. That's exactly what they should do, though. Let's be honest. That's what they should do.
And we need to have gotten rid, right?
Yeah, but there's,
Would you guys take Rashford, by the way?
Yes.
Depends on the wages.
Why does it depend on the wages?
Because we're not going to pay him a 350K a week. Look, remember, like last time I talked about it, Sean, once a player shows that he can give up on a team, on his teammates, like he did at United, it's a red flag for me. The talent is not an issue. He's a great talent. Mentally, I would not pay big money for him because he already showed that for a big club like United, he down tools. And I just don't want that mentality in the club. I would take him on loan or like on 200K a week, not on 325. I would not break our wage structure for Rashford.
I think you're only taking Rashford if you're going to play him in the 9. And you're just going to let him do what he wants to do.
But he didn't do well in 9.
Just
wasn't good.
Just do what you want to do. Just drift in, drift out. Do that. I don't see us doing that with a player.
It would be nice though to have a superstar, wouldn't it, Rain? Like Fernandes, as much as he's an £85 million player, he's not a superstar name. Tonali's not like a superstar name. It would be nice to have someone at the top end of the park that everyone goes, oh shit, Tottenham have got him. You never know what he's going to do. He's capable of magic. Kudus doesn't have that. Xavi Simons isn't there yet. Maddison isn't there anymore. Certainly Richarlison and Solanke aren't that sort of standard where you just go, don't forget, there's that fucking that danger man over there that can do anything. Rashford does come with that level of gravitas, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He has got that level of I want to say the word kudos. Yeah, exactly. Stardust.
Not as a striker, Rain. At United, he didn't do well as a striker. As a 9, he wasn't playing well. That's why they put him on the wing.
Just in the squad generally. Like Rashford would sell more shirts than anybody else next season if Rashford came in. You don't think?
Plus he's English, which if you're doing the whole, European gymnastics, hopefully for next, season after this one, then That would be helpful, would it not?
There's a name that's come up in chat a few times that I think should be spoken about, which is Tony. And I learned something about Tony a week or so ago that was very, very interesting, which is this whole...
His real name is Anthony.
Yeah, exactly. This whole, he's got a problem with taxes because of the Saudi League thing, actually ends at the end of August. It ends just in time
to get him
in time to get him in for the window. There's an option.
You could sign him now if you wanted him. You could sign him now and then make it official when he.
Oh, what, like a pre-contract and then actually?
Well, not a pre. I just mean like you could get the here we go, but it's all pertinent to him joining up with the football club, and officially his first day at work is after that date, so that he doesn't owe the Saudi tax man 100 million quid or whatever. I'd take Ivan Toney, and I actually think Ivan Toney probably comes with that same sort of gravitas. I think I shouldn't have said like as if sort of selling shirts is a mechanism to value the player's gravitas, but there's something to it. But I think Ivan Toney for me is someone that he's a handful, right? Like a proper handful. And you're going to get some level of output from him. And you also know that right now, most people that aren't Tottenham fans look at Tottenham's team and go, yeah, you've got some decent players, but there's nothing in there that's terrifying.
Yeah, there's no bullies up front.
No bullies up front. I don't think Brian Brobby satisfies me on that regard. I think I like Brian Brobby. I think he's a good player and he's a bully, but I just don't think he's like...
He's not technically good enough, I don't think.
No, and we do have to...
It's the same with Igor Thiago. Like I'm just sitting there kind of going, like, what are we doing here, bro? Like one season, like we've already paid 60 million quid for a guy with one season of good results in Solanke. Now, I'm not someone who thinks that Solanke's dog shit like a lot of other Tottenham fans do, but Solanke clearly in the last 2 seasons at Tottenham has either been played under the Ange system that was sacrificial lamb-esque, and in the second year under Thomas Frank he was injured for most of the season. So I don't think we've really got a good enough grasp of what Solanke's capable of doing at Tottenham. I've seen more than enough of Richalison. Didn't want him in the first place. But if you give me an opportunity right now, you're offering me Brian Brobby, Thiago, Ivan Toney as a 9. I'm picking Ivan Toney, I think.
Absolutely. And we can't get hung up on can we sell him on? We can't get hung up on we need future. Sometimes you just need to go out and get a 29-year-old and they give you 2 seasons and then you move on to another player.
If you had
what you have to
Toney
do.
And Marmoush, for argument's sake, if you had Toney and Marmoush, that you had that option of having both of them on at the same time in certain games, like your bully, that like would hold the ball up, like nod it on and whatever else, and you have Marmoush, with his speed and just stealth and everything else. That would almost remind me of the kind of just sort of when we were proficient up front, where you had that, those sort of aspects of play available.
And also Tony and Tonali will become best mates. They have a lot in common. Keep them away from the casino.
Yeah.
Shut down all bookies.
Do you know what?
Mark on these guys.
You've got to be a little bit concerned. Every single day they're going to wake up, go into work, and put on a training top that's got MGM on the front of their shirt. And troubles against trouble. Troubles against trouble.
No sponsorship deals with these guys.
Yeah,
these guys are not doing any photo shoots.
That could be part of the sign-on contract. Like we'll open an account for you and we'll set you up with a bit of cash to start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. All right, guys, this is probably a good time to end off. Wonderful bit of news for Tottenham, though, right? We signed Fernandes, our 5th signing of the summer. We've got to get some players out. And we will continue the conversation tomorrow.
That answers your mate that said that there was something going to be happening, the training ground and whatever else, and that there was a medical that was going to be happening and so on, right?
Yeah, maybe. I think that, maybe. I don't know. Well, I'll speak to Gary. I'm sure Gary wasn't being mischievous, but sometimes people get a little bit excited. That was about a week ago, wasn't it? That was about 5 or 6. That was last Monday or Tuesday or something. I don't know what we're doing here. It's It's now Tuesday of the following week. We can't be hanging on to that one. But has Fernandes had his medical yet? Don't even know.
We still need to see the shirt. We need to see the shirt. We need to see the shirt. We need to see that on Spurs Talk Show as well. We need that being held up.
Yeah, Sonny's live coming in last, saying Balogun has looked good for us good for the US in the Poch system. Yeah, I've really enjoyed watching Balogun play, but I don't know enough about him. I don't watch Monaco. I'm not going to claim that I do, but whenever I've seen him, I've been impressed. There's things about him I like, but there's a lot of things about him. I think Eugene's got a good point regarding could he just be another player that sort of flatters the deceiver at that standard. We shall see. But if we did sign Balogun, I'd be happy. He's definitely. I think he's someone that I could get excited about, but I doubt it will happen. If PSG want him, they'll probably go to PSG. Guys, love you all. Thank you everyone for the generous super chats. Thank you everyone for your attention. Eugene, Hugo, Adam, who disappeared without saying goodbye, and Rain. Thank you so much for your last 2 hours of your life, guys. Please, the one thing I'd ask you to do, guys.
Your last 2 hours. That's it.
Yeah, before that, I don't know. No, I love you guys. Guys, the one thing I would ask everyone that still watch, 700 people here, before you go, right? I've spent 13, 14 hours a day, every single day of the last 2 months of my life trying to build the Spurs Hub, trying to make it an awesome place for everyone. It's about to launch its own web app. It's not going to be like an app that you can download from the iStore, because that's going to cost hundreds of thousands of pounds. But essentially, I'll teach everybody once it's live how to turn the thing into an app on your phones, which will be much better for everyone that wants to use it on that regard, which I know a lot of you do. I've had a lot of requests, but I spent so much time on it. If you want to support the anything we do here, the Spurs Hub would be the best place for me to see your support. Not asking for anything. It's free for everybody, but just go over there, sign up. There's so much to do. You can find all new content creators that you haven't yet discovered. The algorithm is the limitation for small content creators, right? There's 60, 70 channels of people out there that you might fall in love with. You might love their take because they're all super talented, but they're smaller creators, and they're waiting for you guys to find them. Well, you can find them on the Spurs Hub. So please do go over. And then when you find them on there, make sure you go to their YouTube channels and subscribe and all that stuff. There's also all the podcasters out there that don't necessarily get the same love either. Please go, and the Spurs Hub has everything you could want as a Spurs fan. So there's so many tools. There's a predictions league. There's games. There's quizzes. There's our own version of Twitter. I just sorry for the long plug, but it's a passion project of mine, and I want to make it the best it can possibly be. So would love it if you guys can just give it a chance. Give it a chance and see if you enjoy it. Adam, I know you dropped off, mate, but you came back in, and we're about to finish. So
no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. My phone died. The only reason I left, it wasn't just storming off. So.
Adam, the best news of today, though, mate, is that you've got a little bubba coming in into the world who's going to be a Tottenham fan, mate. So the last question for you, Adam, is your kids, if your kids are good enough, are they going to play for Ireland or are they going to play for Brazil?
Oh man, I'd be pressuring them to play for Ireland for sure, but then they've got their mother to deal with, so we have to see. But the thing is, it'll be their Brazilian genetics that get them to play football in the first place, so I can't exactly say much.
Yeah, 100%. The first ginger Brazilian, the real ginger Pele. All right, guys, listen, we'll leave it there. Appreciate everyone put on the show. Appreciate all of your support on the chat. I'll see you later on, guys. If there's something more, you'll see another video out. But if not, I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see you later. Take care, everyone. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Come on.